Hello, hello everyone. How are we all? Welcome to the Gameweek 29 deadline stream, where I have just realised I'm not even wearing a football shirt. We can't really start the stream until I'm wearing a football shirt. It just wouldn't be right. Just wouldn't be right. We've got 2 hours and 25 minutes until the deadline itself. So I think I've got time to change, right? Sit. Been told in the chat already to sit. Sit down, Dan. Why are you all over the place? My stream, if I want to stand, I will. But I won't, because I do need to pick a football shirt for today. That's something golden today. I feel like something golden. Yeah, okay. We're going to go for something golden and shiny today to give us some golden luck. I feel like we need it with with all of the Doritos of death. I should have bought some Doritos actually to have as a snack. Mark says Dan isn't a dog. You can't tell him to sit. Quite right. Quite right, Mark. Very well said. It's my stream. I will stand if I want to. Oh, right. I always worry I'll end up revealing my half-naked body when changing shirts. But alas, we are ready. We're ready. Drunk Dan. It's a Tuesday afternoon. Why would I be drunk? I'm not drunk. I'm just excited. I'm excited for a new deadline. I've been waiting for this one. This is the game week. I officially enter into the top 100k. And as such, I'm excited for it. I'm seeing lots and lots of Doritos of death in people's teams. And I have very, very few, and I'm happy about that. I see lots of people selling Haaland. Well. I've got the phone there. Pep Guardiola hopefully is going to give me a call before deadline telling me what to do. And if not, we can always summon the Norwegian spirits with the Norwegia board to see if Haaland is available. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that. We will come up with answers today. We will. Your shirt color is yellow flagged. It's not. This is like golden. It's a beautiful golden. Oh, collar's not working properly. This is golden. It's a signal of good fortune, guys. It's a good. I can't believe I'm being accused of being drunk, of being high. I just, to be honest, I can't see very much in these glasses because of the pattern on them. So I couldn't actually see what I look like. There we go. This is gold. I think we can all agree this is gold. But anyway, how is everyone today? How are we all? Are we all having a happy Tuesday? For a lot of you guys, you should be doing work right now. Show your red eyes. They look bloodshot to you? No, sir. I am fully dialed in. I'm fully dialed in. Yeah. Are we feeling good? Are we feeling good? Should you be at work right now, some of you guys? Have you just finished work? Are you finished school? Let me know. Let me know. I would imagine that, in game weeks like this, when so much is dependent on team news and that kind of stuff, injury updates, some things must take priority, and sometimes just a little bit of FPL content on in the background, it's not too bad. We've got some people at work. Let's have a look. Peter's on an off day. Ipster says it's 11. Well, PM. Nana Owosu is working. Gravitas just got out from college. Anthony said it's midnight in Korea. Wow. That shirt's a bit Ali G. You're kidding. Jogita working from home. Sumi says happy Holly to all. Yes, happy Holly indeed. Happy Holly. And Carl is retired, man. I too hope to be retired one day, but we've got a few years left of FPL content, I hope, before that. Ali GW. Yeah, nice one, Joe. National holiday here in Bulgaria. Well, happy national holiday to all the Bulgarians out there. 9 p.m. in India. We're really saying this is Ali G. Crazy, crazy. Scott says students are always free, really. Yeah, I've been there, mate. I've been there. Kay's pretending to work. Fair enough. Hugo is saying good morning from Mexico. And Christian says 4:39 in Norway. Work day is over. What time do people finish? What time do people finish work in Norway? Wow. Can I finish work at Norwegian time? That would be nice. Omar says, "Who's your favorite FPL YouTuber?" I'm going to give a little shout out to FPL Fran. I'm going to say at FPL Fran or the FPL Wire. My favorite FPL YouTubers. Gunsmoke says a suggestion: buy a Ballon d'Or prop and place it at the back shelf because you are a goat. I could put it alongside my Oscar award for all the deadline shenanigans in times gone by. You know what? A Ballon d'Or prop might not be such a bad thing. Might not be such a bad thing. Yeah, we've got lots of people working from home, people from all kinds of time zones as well. I hope you guys are feeling prepared. Should we go through some of the stuff that we've learnt then, shall we? Over the course of today. Yes, we've got some press conference news that we need to run through. So whilst we do that, I'll throw my team on screen, which I think is in reasonably good shape. I finally got a custom team badge that I'm reasonably happy with. It kind of looks like the OG FPL Mate logo I made like 5 years ago, but similar to the one we have now. But yes, team news. So you may have seen that there is no team news on the ticker, but I am going to throw it on as we talk about some of the stuff that we've learned. So I'm going to put that on the ticker and we'll talk through some of it right away. So, first of all, should we talk about Erling Haaland? I'm sure that's what a lot of you guys are wondering about first and foremost. Let's just do it. So, well, I'm afraid we can't because this is in a super chat. You're gonna have to wait beyond the super chat. But thank you very much, Mark, for an early super chat in today's stream. Thoughts on Haaland to DCL and Enzo to Salah from -4. Also have Wilson as an issue and don't like Enzo much. Would you captain Ekitike or Thiago? Cheers. Well, I feel like this kind of fits in a little bit. I feel like this fits in a little bit to what we were about to talk about anyway. So yeah, let's talk about that. Erling Haaland, what's going on with him? Well, let me tell you. Pep Guardiola had a press conference today at 12:30. I did watch this one live, so hopefully there's no room for any confusion there. And what we found out is that he is going to be assessed. I think it's the general basis of it, to give a very, very vague answer. We were never going to get a perfectly clear answer. However, he is feeling better. So Haaland is feeling better, which is positive. He's going to be assessed beyond training that took place today. So there's going to be training today. The way Pep Guardiola kind of said it, he said kind of, we have training today and we'll make a decision. Does that imply that Haaland would take part in training? I thought so when I was kind of watching on. But of course, there is also an interpretation of we have training, but Haaland may or may not be a part of that, but we as a team have training. So, you know, obviously these things are always open to a little bit of its interpretation. But I do think, generally speaking, things did look reasonably positive. So Haaland presumably is going to be part of training. And if that is the case, if he's feeling better and he's part of training, I think that's reasonably positive. And I think at the very least, you know, this isn't a big injury. I think that's you know, the least we can take from what we've learned today is that you know, Haaland is not got a serious injury or anything like that. So what does that mean? People saying in the chat, no, I think he said Haaland is training. That's not quite how I interpreted it that way, but he did leave some room for interpretation. That's all I'm saying. So I believe that he meant Haaland was training, but I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to kind of fool you guys with anything like that. So Haaland, presumably training, presumably to be assessed. I think if he is training, then that's probably a good sign for some minutes. But it may be one of those cases where, you know, if Man City find themselves, you know, 3-0 up at half time, kind of prime time for a Haaland halftime substitution, if I'm totally honest with you guys. But if Man City are 3-0 up at half time, I think there's a fairly good chance that Haaland would be involved in those goals by that point. So what do we do? What do we do about all of this, all of the above? Well, I think based on what we've learned, what I'm choosing to do is keep Haaland. I think there's enough justification to keep him because I think there's a solid chance he starts. And I think if he does start, he is going to be one of the better opportunities to get points in this game week. It's very difficult to say who will get the most points, but I would certainly say that if Haaland starts in game week 29, he has one of the highest potential for points this game week. I think that's fair to say. And if so, I want him. And, you know, if he is benched, I feel like I am comfortable enough that I have some bench coverage there with Anderson. If he, you know, only plays a limited amount of minutes, say he gets, you know, 30 minutes at the end or something like that. Yes, Eman's got the exact quote. He feels much better, but we didn't train yesterday. Now we have training and we'll decide today. Yeah, that's again, that could be that is opening us up to a little bit of interpretation. But yes, I feel like I'm going to keep Haaland. And you know, if you are still worried with what you know now, you're still worried, and you know you maybe have a couple of transfers. Maybe you need to get Ekitike, and you would rather have Ekitike in your team, for example. You know, for those of you guys who don't have Ekitike, I think there's still an opportunity to move Haaland to Ekitike, particularly if you have 2 free transfers and you can use that freed up money to do something else interesting. And that doesn't necessarily mean Salah, but maybe Salah, maybe Mbeumo as well. If you don't have Mbeumo or Ekitike and you have 2 free transfers, love it. Love it. Like it. Don't mind it. It's fine. But if you are in a situation like me, where you already have Ekitike, there's no natural replacement for Haaland in terms of those forwards, and you'll be scraping the barrel with a Joao Pedro or a Calvert-Lewin, and you're not really totally convinced by any of the potential Haaland replacements, then that may be a sign to just keep Haaland. Now, that said, would I captain Haaland? Probably not. I don't think it's convincing enough to captain Haaland this week, but that said, you could do captain Haaland, make sure you've got a vice captain sorted for this week, and all of a sudden, you never know, Haaland starts and things might look very good for you. And one thing that should be said is that actually having Haaland captain, and if it does come off, and it is a risk, there is obviously some risk attached there, then you've got a differential captain, you've got an interesting captain, you've got something a little bit different in your team, and in times like this, quite rare to find these opportunities, but you have to have the right risk appetite in order to do so. So, to circle back to Mark's question, thoughts on Haaland to DCL and Enzo to Salah for a -4? I don't think I would do it. If it were Haaland to Ekitike and Enzo to Salah or Enzo to Mbeumo, I'd be more up for it. But for a -4 to sell a Haaland who could well play for a forward who, objectively, is a worse FPL asset, doesn't quite sit right with me. And I'm not confident enough that Haaland will be out, rested, benched, whatever, that I think it's worth taking a -4 to remove him. We've got to remember, guys, I mean, Salah's not exactly been lighting up the Premier League recently. I mean, his body language is not quite there. His team almost don't trust him. You know, they're not passing to him in the same way. It's not a case of give it to Salah and let him do the business. It's not Team Salah anymore. That's just not the way Liverpool are playing anymore. And don't get me wrong, I think, you know, Salah does still offer some value. If you know, okay, let's just take 2 players. We all like Dango Ouattara, right? Most of us like Dango as a pick. You know, it's not perfect, but, you know, he's decent. He's a decent pick. I would say that Salah is just as good as Dango as a pick, if they were the same price. So if money is no option, is this harsh, comparing Salah to Dango as an FPL pick in the big 2026? Maybe. But if Salah was 7 million, you'd say, yeah, that's pretty good value for money. He's a decent FPL asset. I think a lot of people look at his price tag and say, no, I'm not going there. But yeah, if money's no issue, he's a fine FPL pick. I mean, he's fine. To be honest, I don't think I captain Salah, even against Wolves, but still. Another super chat from the Red Raspberry says, I have Wilson, Rice, and Haaland. One playing bench player, and do have Ekitike. Should I do a -4 for a nailed healthy player on one of the three? Okay, well, I think this is a good time to talk about Wilson and Rice in that case. Let's talk about Wilson and Rice. And before we do that, I don't know if we've got any mods in the chat, so we will permanently hide some fake accounts in the chat. Right, Wilson, Rice. Let's talk about them. So first of all, Wilson. He is another player that a lot of people own. Probably about half of you guys have Wilson in. I mean, if I was to do a poll, show of hands in the chat, hands up, do you have Wilson in your team? You don't have to type in anything. Just raise your hand in real life. I'll know. I'm like Father Christmas. I know when your hands are in the air. Yeah, it's not the hidden cameras, I promise. But Wilson, what's going on with him? Well, he's a tricky one. I can't lie. It's less positive. My interpretation is less positive because there's no quotes to say he is improving or anything like that, or he's feeling better. It's more a case of, he's still one that needs to be continually assessed. That's kind of the interpretation I got from that press conference, that they're continuing to monitor him, continuing to assess him to try and figure out when he is going to be available. And that may well be this game week, but there is clearly an issue that is ongoing. Well, at least, from getting that ankle injury, that is going to be something that he is going to be contending with, at least in the short term. So, can a player play shortly following a twisted ankle? Yes, sometimes, but you're going to be in some pain. So you are maybe going to be a little bit restricted, or maybe a little bit limited on how many minutes you can play as well. And as such, if Wilson were to start, and I think it is still possible Wilson starts, I think it's very possible. I wouldn't to put him as a 90-minute man. No way. I would be incredibly surprised if Wilson played 90 minutes this game week. But could he play, 55, 60, 65? Yes, maybe. But I think the more likely outcome with Wilson, and this is maybe just kind of trying to just interpret things a little bit, because we don't know, even if he's being assessed, even Fulham may not know whether Wilson's going to be available or not to play tomorrow. Maybe it's more likely he's going to be on the bench, only used if absolutely necessary. So I do think, unlike Haaland, who you don't bring Haaland for a 10-minute cameo off the bench against Nottingham Forest, surely not. Wilson is the talisman, the metronome to this Fulham side a lot of the time. And if it gets to 60 minutes, Fulham are struggling against the West Ham team, who, let's be honest, have improved. I think there is a reasonable chance that Wilson gets kind of a bench appearance, because I think with him it'll be more about pain management than anything else. But equally, you might say Fulham have other options in their squad. I mean, they can play Chukwueze, they can play Iwobi, could play out wide. We've got Oscar Bob as well. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about Wilson. I think if I had him, I'd probably just take the risk and start him, because you're not going to sell him. You're not going to sell Wilson. Like Haaland, there is even though you're perhaps a little more positive on Haaland than you are Wilson, Haaland, his usefulness is more limited, I think, than Wilson's, who is going to be arguably a captain option in Game Week 31. So he's going to be a player you want to have in your squad. You're going to want to have Wilson in your squad. So I'd be happy to start Wilson. I don't think I would sell him. I think he's a good pick, generally speaking. But if you do have some nice bench cover, and you're already kind of on the fence about some bench decisions, then maybe that's an argument to bench Wilson. Maybe. But again, that's going to be up to you. But yeah, no captain's armband for Wilson. There was a super chat that came in. I better just read that one out before we talk about old Decker's Rice. Although, to be fair, that'll be a little bit more of a brief discussion. Marzen with the super chat says, current defence, Kelleher, Gabriel, Anderson, Van Dijk, Collins. Selling Collins for a cheap backup to cover injuries / benching in Game Week 29 to 30 and blank Game Week 31. Any recommendations based on wildcard in 32? Well, who's missing from here? You're missing, really, a James Hill is probably the solution, right? James Hill, Senesi possibly as well. Maybe a Bournemouth defender. That's the only thing I can think of sticks out to me. Yeah, I think I would go Collins to Hill, Martin. That's what I would do with that team. Let's talk about Rice. Oh, got another super chat from Patrick. Rodgers or JP, start / bench. I would play. I kind of, in many ways, I'd want to play both. I think on form, you probably play Joao Pedro and bench Rodgers. On form, right? I think that makes sense. Although I do think, Chelsea will give Rodgers some space, and that may allow him to have some more of his long shots. The cash-in game for Rodgers is coming. Rodgers does his usual thing. He scores 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 15 points, 2 points, 2 points, 2 points, 5 points, 2 points, 15 points. And that's the way he kind of works with his FPL returns, doesn't he? So you never know when that 15-pointer is going to be. But we're certainly on the back of a lot of 2-pointers. But yeah, I think on form, Joao Pedro is still looking good. He looked good against Arsenal as well, to be honest. Was maybe unfortunate not to get an attacking return in that game. So as such, I'm going to say play Joao Pedro, bench Rodgers. But we will do a bench list today. We will do a bench list, and hopefully that will help answer all bench dilemmas. Indeed. Declan Rice. He's very nice, but what's his injury status? Well, don't ask me twice. He is, I think, positive. So, and I've seen this mentioned a couple of times, by the way, guys. The last time Declan Rice was yellow flagged was ahead of a game against Bournemouth, I believe. He was yellow flagged. Arteta didn't give a clear answer, as always. Rice played and scored twice. 90 minutes he played and he scored twice. So that's what happened. That's what happened the last time Rice was yellow flagged. Just to put that one out there. But I would definitely say that things are looking positive. So according to Arteta, Rice is feeling better, or feeling a little bit better at least. And Arteta is kind of hopeful that he's going to be available, which sounds positive. Unless it's just Arteta just straight up lying. You can never fully trust Rice, can you? Sorry, you never fully trust Arteta. But yeah, I think Rice is going to be needed. There's not really another player in his particular mold available at the moment. There's no Marino, for example, available right now. I actually think Zubimendi is looking a bit jaded at the moment. Perhaps could be the player more in need of a rest of the two players, provided both are available. Rice is not going to be replaced by Norgard, for example. It's just Zubimendi and Norgard. It's just not. There's not enough drive moving forward in that team that Arsenal kind of do need at the moment. So I think Rice is definitely a player who's either going to be available or not. Rice is not a guy who gets, sub appearances. So if he plays, he plays. If he doesn't, he doesn't, in my opinion. And as such, I think if you have Rice and you're happy to keep him, then by all means, just start him. But if you're unhappy, you're still a little bit worried about him, you don't have the bench cover, you're going to sell him by game week 31 regardless, then in that case, Rice to someone like Mbeumo, quite like. Rice to Wilson isn't really as possible right now. But, you know, Rice to someone like Mbermo, a really nice, reliable transfer I quite like. And I would be open to doing something like that. I think for a lot of people, just keeping Rice might be the blame. Let's go through some of these super chats that have come in. Ipster says Haaland could be rested for the Real Madrid games. Yes, of course. We have got the Real Madrid games coming up. Those games are going to straddle the game week 30 fixtures. Is that right? Yes. So we've got now, which is game week 29. This weekend, we're going to have Man City will play Newcastle at the weekend in the FA Cup. And then they'll play the first leg of the Champions League against Real Madrid. Then they'll play West Ham. Then they'll play the second leg against Real Madrid. And then in game week 31 will be the League Cup final. A lot of games. A lot of games. So there will be some resting somewhere. I wonder if the rest time is actually the West Ham game for Man City. If Man City are going to say, you know, we're going to prioritise other competitions other than the Premier League, which I'm not fully convinced they will, then actually perhaps the West Ham game is going to be the rest game, maybe. But that said, you know, maybe he might be rested this week as well, even if he is available. Maybe. I don't know. We're trying to read minds at this point, aren't we? Which is difficult, but that's part of it. That's part of FPL, isn't it, really? It's part of the game. So, yes, there could be some resting at some point or another. Rahul says, Verts to Iwobi or Dango, Captain Iwobi or Ekitike. I'm going to sneeze, man. I'm so on the precipice of sneezing. So I apologize when this sneeze eventually comes out. I can feel it in my nostrils. So I apologize. So, I would definitely not Captain Iwobi. No. No, I think most people who have owned Iwobi for a long time in FPL will know that he can be an enormous troll player indeed. Such a big troll. But, you know, he's been in some okay form. My problem is with Iwobi is he's massively overperforming his data. And Wilson overperforms his data. Wilson's a career overperformer. Iwobi has these little streaks where he'll overperform his data. He'll score a 0.1 XG chance and get a 0.1 XA assist, and everyone will lump on him, and then he'll disappear for 2 months again. So we've been here before. I think it's an interesting differential. I really do think it's an interesting differential, but captaincy is too far for me. Will I personally do Verts to Iwobi? Probably not. I'd rather do Verts to Dango. But I don't want to say Iwobi is a bad pick. It's just, you know, if you've been an Iwobi owner in the past, then you'll know the risk he poses to a lot of people. What else we got here? So I did Rice to Dewsbury, Q to Ekitike. Is it good? It's not bad. I mean, yeah, if you're selling Rice to fund moving a literally useless player like Mark Yu to Ekitike, then I don't think you can really complain about that. I think that makes sense. So yeah, that's another good reason to sell Rice, is if it funds something really like a huge improvement. And going from a forward like Yu or Chiro Obi, who literally is not playing, to the most desirable FPL asset ahead of game week 29, which is Ekitike, then of course, you know, if downgrading Rice allows you to do that, then you should. Right, so we've got here for FPL says, if one out of Wilson or Haaland plays, I'd have 11. Would you roll with that and hope or do Dorgu to a 4.4 or less defender? I mean, it depends if you have free transfers. To be honest, I'm not massively sold on any of the sub 4.4 defenders. Strauch or Strike? Strauch, I think. Strauch is a defender that the AI algorithms, the models, like the look of. So if you feel that they know more than us human beings, and sometimes they do, then maybe you could do. But when you say, you know, if one of Wilson or Haaland plays that you'd have 11, do you literally mean that? Or do you have like players like I don't know, like an Alderete or a Richards on your bench or something like that, who actually could potentially cover if needed, even if you wouldn't play them ideally, kind of thing. But if there's literally no cover, then I think it would probably be a wise idea to use free transfers, not hits, to get a playing bench player, particularly someone like Dorgu, who you're going to have to replace by 31 anyway, presumably. David says, is Ekitike a must? Haaland to Ekitike or DCL and Rice to Ekitike and Dewsbury Hall with a -4? I don't think Ekitike is essential, no. I don't think he is a must-have player. He's a very nice player to own. I'm happy to own him, but let's not forget, a week ago, everyone was saying he was a terrible pick because he wasn't scoring the points. He wasn't doing the points, so he was an awful pick. Has that completely changed in a week? Probably not. Probably not. Were you fearful of not owning him a week ago? Probably not. Is he a different player now? Oh, he hasn't transformed in a week. He's the same bloke. He's the same guy. Some games he'll do very well. Some games he won't do as well. But what he will do consistently, and he always has been doing throughout this entire time, when blanking or when scoring points, is he will get opportunities to score. He will get big chances to score. He will take shots. He will be one of the kind of set piece target men. Obviously Van Dijk primarily, but he will be in those opportunities. His team is good. His team is creative. There are going to be opportunities for Ekitike to score goals, and that's always been the case. So I like Ekitike. I would make some effort to get him into your team, but I wouldn't rip my team up to get him. If you like Haaland, for example, have I got Haaland captain, by the way? Just realised I have Haaland captain. That isn't. No, I haven't. It's a little mini icon. All of these icons are being added. Yeah, no, my captains are right for my current thinking. I wouldn't rip my team up to get Ekitike. I wouldn't take a -4 to get Ekitike unless you're selling genuinely bad players, and I don't think DCL or Rice are genuinely bad players. Would I sell Haaland to Ekitike? Maybe, if you really want to. It's not a non-essential move, though, in my opinion. But there's every chance if Haaland starts, then we're probably saying he's just as good as Ekitike, if not better. No, maybe. We'll have to see. But I think I don't think I take a hit to get Ekitike if selling if selling good players in order to get him. I mean, DCL could score as well as Ekitike this week. There's no reason why that can't happen either. Trying to predict the future a little bit, though, aren't we? We really don't know, do we? The hub is telling me to bench Haaland. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the algorithms and models will naturally be down on Haaland because they're trying to predict his minutes, and they're giving an average expected score based on the chance he starts or doesn't start. Basically, if you think he's going to get benched and get points off the bench, then you should probably bench him. By that I mean get 1 point off the bench. But if you think he's either injured or he's going to start, then you should play him. I don't think algorithms can help you with a Haaland decision, unfortunately, because it's an injury issue. Algorithms can't analyze injuries, unfortunately. They try and give a rough average expected minutes based on pretty little. So there we go. Oh, here for FPL, so I literally have 11. Yeah, if you have one free transfer, I'd make the Dorgu move. I think I would. Ian says, hi Dan, I'm open to selling Haaland for Ekitike and bringing him back in time for the doubles without a wild card. Is it worth it? I don't think I would. If you don't have a wild card, I think I would keep Haaland. Because I think one advantage of selling Haaland, if you do have a wild card, is the fact that if you want him back, you can get him back incredibly easily. Whereas you're kind of saying, I'm going to sell Haaland and I'm going to leave a load of money in the bank just sitting there. I'm not going to reinvest it. I'm not going to use it to improve my team. I think you lose a lot of the advantages of selling Haaland if you kind of do it your way. or it's going to take a lot of transfers to resolve when you do bring Haaland back, which is again not something you really want to have to deal with. So no, I don't think I would do that personally. Don't forget the price change if you sell Haaland. There is that as well. There is that. If you do sell Haaland, I mean, what's my buying price? I actually don't know what price I bought Haaland at. I bought him at 14.2, same as a lot of people, I think. So can I afford any price drops? Yeah. I can afford for him to drop in price one more time. But yeah, that means I would lose 0.3 if I sold him. Is that right? Yeah, I bet essentially lose 0.3. So it's, if you're improving your team on a lot, I think this season 0.3 million doesn't mean that much. Certainly not as much as it has done in previous seasons. 0.2 more so is I don't think a big deal at all. And the irony of it all is, if you're selling Haaland, I don't think you're going to be worried too much about, how much money you have to spend, because you'll have all your Haaland money to spend. Maybe that does impact things a little bit later down the line where you're 0.1 short or 0.2 short of a player you really wanted, but I wouldn't let it impact your decision. And in all likeliness, Haaland is going to drop to 14.6 tonight. Let's have a look. Is that what's about to happen? Let's go. Price changes. Wait, what? Oh, I need to refresh this clearly because that is outdated. Outdata. Is Haaland going to go down again? I don't think he will, actually. I don't think he will. I think he'll survive. But there's a chance he goes down again before game week 30. And then in game week 31, Haaland will definitely drop down in price again. So we're looking at Haaland dropping another 0.1, 0.2. Outside chance of dropping another 0.3 from now before you want to buy him back in game week 32. But a reasonable chance nonetheless. I mean, I've got some price changes tonight. Virgil up, Raul up, Allison, Iwobi, Gabriel up as well. Dango, Ekitike. Ekitike double price rise is crazy. Is that really going to happen? Enough people buying him in the next 2 hours? Wild if so. Absolutely wild if so. Who else is changing? Evan Nilsson down, Van der Ven down. I wonder if Van der Ven could end up being useful at 4.4. Maybe. Watkins 8.5 if he gets into some good form. Ooh, we got a few price rises coming our way, I think. I'm going to have Hill, Ekitike, Dango, Gabriel, Virgil. God, I could be up another 0.5 million in the next couple of days. Potentially. Wowzers. Wowzers in my trousers. Actually, pause. No, not that. Wowzers somewhere else. Somewhere innocent. Why Dango? Why Dango going up in price? I don't know, man. I think he's just a solid FPL pick. His underlying data has been consistently strong this season. The fixtures are good. He's got a nice game week 31 fixture, which is always useful against the Leeds. Wolves next week as well. It's a nice little run. Nice little run. Fixtures, cheap price tag. Lots to love. What do you think about Virgil van Dijk Capitano? There are some risk there. I do fancy Liverpool for a clean sheet this week. We've got to be one of the best opportunities. Duncan says, Dan, think before you think. Think before you think before you speak. I wasn't even thinking before I spoke when I said I was going to think before I spoke. Yeah, probably should. Probably should, really. So, Rice. Rice? No, Dango. Yeah, just a good pick generally. And I'd be happy with him. Virgil for captain, I think I'd be open to it. But realistically, probably not. You have to limit your expectations a little bit with these attacking returns, because it's not going to be an attacking return every week for Virgil. Like, that just doesn't happen. I mean, maybe it will. Maybe it will. Mojo says you should speed up the ticker at the bottom of the page. Mojo, let me tell you, man. Let me tell you. We have scientifically found the perfect speed for the ticker, and you're looking at it. When I say scientifically, I mean we've had this conversation before, and it's been a case of should it be faster, should it be slower? And this is the speed that the least people were upset about. So I think we are roughly, unless a bunch of people are going to say the ticker is too slow at the bottom of the screen. You know, different people have different reading speeds. Some people obviously speak English as a second language, and therefore do appreciate a little bit more time to read as well. But I appreciate the speed readers may be a little frustrated with the speed. So apologies. It's staying unless there's a big fuss kicked up in the chat, which I don't think there will be, to be honest. First world problems, right? Right. So, should we do some questions? Should we do? Let's do a captain poll. I feel like we should do a captain poll. Joe in the chat says, "Hi Dan. Although my answer in the top 100 was Evanilson and Rice out for Ekitike and Tavernier, I'm thinking of doing Dango instead of Tavernier, or even to keep Rice and change Evanilson to someone. What do you think?" If you can get to Evanilson to Ekitike in one transfer, I'll probably just do that, to be honest. Makes a lot of sense. Am I rating teams? Yes, members. Members, I'll be rating teams. If you put your teams in the folder, I will rate members' teams. But I do want to do a captain poll before we move on, because I want to get your ideas on this one. I want to see what you guys are up to. Who is your Gameweek 29 captain? Who should the options even be? Is Haaland? If people are going to captain Haaland, maybe not. Let's put Bruno Fernandes first. Let's put Ekitike second. I think it could be really tight between these two. I think it really, really could. Oh, Oliver's back. Do you remember me, mate? Things have gone terribly for the past 4 to 5 game weeks for me. Oliver, you haven't been tuning into the streams and videos, have you, mate? You've been playing too casually. What happened? How bad has it gone, Oliver? What's the rank? I'm so curious. Smiley 2 side says Haaland out for Ekitike, have Rice and Wilson, no -4. Yeah, I guess if you need the kind of the bench coverage, then maybe you could. But I think would I rather sell Rice? Maybe. I definitely wouldn't sell Wilson. Definitely wouldn't take a -4 for any of this. You could do Haaland for Ekitike, or if you can afford to move Rice to a player you really, really do like the look of, then maybe do that one instead. My overall rank is now 515. Oh my word! What? I've got to know what happened. What have you been doing? Did you just not have Wilson? Because I know he's been damaging to a lot of people. Let's go the overall. Let's find you, Oliver. 515. I really don't know who else to put on the captain poll. Bruno, Ekitike, and who? Who are you guys captaining? Aston Villa. Aston Villa have let you down, haven't they? See your transfer history. Where does it show their transfer history? Maybe you can only see your own. Oh, you had used a few chips early, didn't you? Your wildcard and bench is pretty early. You've been making transfers. You bought Tolo in. Bought Tolo in for the double game week. No triple captain. And that wouldn't have helped. You still have that to use, I guess. Yeah, it's rough out there, man. It's rough out there. Still, you're in a much better position than most people, and you can definitely come back with some smart decisions. Let's see the chat. So, Haaland, Salah, Thiago, Semenyo. Haaland is probably still the most popular. Although Semenyo is a lot of Semenyo answers. Okay, maybe Semenyo is more popular than Haaland. So we'll put, I guess Haaland goes in the other category. So Bruno Fernandes, Ekitike, Semenyo, or other, including Haaland. I think other could beat Semenyo. We'll put it that way. To the extent where I may actually change the poll and... Yeah, look, other is flying. There's too many options this week. There's just too many options. What about triple captain Ekitike? No way, man. No way. That's just points chasing. A triple captain needs to be used on a week where there is a super convincing captain, and I don't even think that's the case. I mean, I'm not even normal captaining Ekitike this week. I think I'm going to captain Bruno, just because I value minutes, I think, in a midweek game week. I originally had my captain's armband on Ekitike, but I've moved it over to Bruno, just to, let's get ahead of the game here, just in case there's any accusations of, I don't know, insider information or anything like that in the wild scenario in which Ekitike is benched, which I don't think is going to happen. I am captaining Bruno because I value minutes, and the more I thought about it, particularly if I'm going to take a risk and keep players like Rice and Haaland, I think I want to go minutes safe on my captain, and Ekitike is the only striker available at Liverpool, who are obviously in still a lot of competitions, and therefore there's a good chance that Ekitike gets a 70-minute sub. I mean, he's been getting some early subs regardless. And Newcastle have been awful, to be fair, haven't they? And plus set pieces, penalties, routes to points. Yeah. So that's why I'm on Bruno Fernandes, just to give a very clear answer why I've chosen. And it's minutes, it's reliability, it's routes to points. And it's maybe that actually maybe I was previously overestimating the Newcastle away fixture a little bit. And perhaps even underestimating Wolves away. Because Liverpool are better at home. That's been a thing since the dawn of time, since the dawn of Liverpool at least. So there we go. We're gonna be Bruno captain, Ekitike vice captain. I think you just got to pick your risks in FPL, don't you? A lot of people will sell Rice, they'll sell Haaland, and then reduce their risk that way. I'll reduce my risk by going for a safe captain option. Leicester Snake says, hi Dan, Evan Nilsson, Rice, and Mukiele to Ekitike, Tavernier, and Alderete for a -4. Does it have to be Alderete? I'm guessing this is the only way to get Evan Nilsson to Ekitike, right? Is there an alternative route where you... Because presumably you're doing Mukiele to Alderete to free up, what, like 0.1, 0.2 million or something like that? Could you just go for someone even cheaper than Tavernier? Could you just go for Dewsbury Hall and then you wouldn't have to take the -4? Dewsbury Hall instead of Tavernier. Remember, Tavernier's just come back from a hamstring injury, so there's every chance that Tavernier doesn't even start in Gameweek 29. I think we need to acknowledge that possibility. I know that, you know, Bournemouth are obviously missing some players and Tavernier very important in that kind of attacking midfield position, but there's every possibility Tavernier doesn't start. You know, I'll put Tavernier in kind of the rotation risk category in the same way as, you know, Rice, Haaland, and Wilson. Just because Tavernier doesn't have a flag doesn't mean he's nailed on. Let's put it that way. So, no, I don't think so. I don't think I'd take that -4. I'd try and find a way of doing things a little easier. What's the plan for Rice? I'm keeping Rice. I have enough confidence in a either start or no show and an auto sub, then I'm happy to just go for it. I think particularly with the fact that I'm happy with my bench, I have Anderson, Mr. 4 points on the bench. I have Alderete. I think Alderete's got every chance of a 4-pointer as well, similar to Richards. So I'm happy with my bench-ish. Issel HQ, thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. Which does remind me, actually, starting 11 tier members, I do need to start rating some of your teams, don't I? Hopefully some of you guys are actually here. If you are a starting 11 member and you are here right now, make yourself known so I can choose your team to rate. Because what I don't want to do is rate the team of someone who isn't even here, because they won't even be able to they won't even be able to see the rating. Ian says, I volunteer as a tribute. Very well, Ian. Very well. Let's have a look at your team. Scott's here as well. All right, so we'll do Ian's team. We'll do Scott's team. Cool. So, Ian's team, 1.7 free transfers. Well, 1.7 free transfer. 1.7 million in the bank, 1 free transfer. Considering Rice to Wilson or Haaland to Ekitike, I'll open to rolling. 1 free transfer is the thing, isn't it? We did speak a little bit about your team, Ian, didn't we? I don't think I would. I don't think I'd take a hit to get, unless, like, let's be honest, this team has enough bench cover for situations in which Rice and Haaland are benched. Creepy Jr., Chalobah, gonna be fine. Oh, Issel upgraded the membership. Or Isai, sorry. Isai. Is that an anime? Is that... What's your profile picture? I did not recognize this anime. Regardless. But yes, if you are a member of the starting 11 tier or above, check out my channel homepage and you will find a upload link. Well, a link to upload a screenshot of your team, basically. Yeah, I don't think I'd make a transfer here. You've got kind of captain options, Bruno, Semenyo. You can't have them all. You've got a little bit of bench cover, so that's fine. I don't think there's an obvious route to get. You can't get to Ekitike in one transfer. You could do Creepy Jr. to Calvert-Lewin, I guess. That's the only move I can maybe think of that would maybe improve this team. But, like, who would you even bench? Maybe, I guess, Rice. But, yeah. Don't think I'd make a transfer. Waiting for FA Cup results to plan. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Ian. Yeah, let's have a look at Scott's team. 0.4 in the bank. Thinking about rolling. Not sure to bench. So, yeah, you got Hill here as cover. I'd maybe put Hill ahead of Chalobah on the bench, but aside from that, I think this looks pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, team looks strong. No need for... This team doesn't need transfers. And yeah, I'd be happy to play Dubravka ahead of Verbruggen this week. Could you just play Rice? I would start Rice and just have a nice first bench. I'd start Rice instead of Lefay. And then I'd have my bench Verbruggen, Lefay, Hill, Chalobah. I think that is what I would do if this were my team. And then captain's just a case of who you feel most confident in. But certainly I would not take a hit or, you know, make any transfers indeed. A couple of super chats here. Own Ole says switch out Haaland for Alderete for red kits only. I thought about that. Red Kits FC. I actually was thinking about this the other day. That I'm getting very close to Red Kits FC. In fact, that was one motivation to sell Haaland, but I couldn't find a player in a red kit that I would be happy to buy. So, yeah, almost got to Red Kits FC, but wasn't to be. Good spot, though. Our boy says, I'm Christian L. I'm Christian L and loves Arsenal. You're Christian L? Is that your name? Hello, Christian L. I also love Arsenal. Bruno captain. Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. Yes, Christian L. I thought you were telling me your religion for a second there. That's why I got a bit confused. Ollie says Evan Nilsson to Ekitike and Enzo to stack for -4. Evan Nilsson and Haaland out for Ekitike and Rail for -4. Who's Rail? Could that be DCL? Don't know. No, that doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Evan Nilsson to Ekitike and Enzo to stack. Does it have to be stack? Can you not go for Dewsbury Hall? I don't think I'd take a -4 to sell Haaland, if I'm totally honest. I just can't see myself doing that. I really can't. Andre says, hi from Toronto, Canada. Any advice on my team? You giving me a team ID. Planning to roll 2 free transfers and bench Rodgers for Anderson and doing a 4-3-3 formation. Okay, let's check it out. Never been sent a team ID like in a super chat before, I don't think. Bruno dos Tres. Andre team. Manchester United fan. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd bench Rodgers for Anderson. I'd rather play Rodgers than Anderson. You play Raya, Virgil, Gabriel, Mateus, right? Dango, Rice, Bruno, Thiago, Ekitike, Haaland. Yeah, you play all of this attack. All of these attackers you play. You keep Miley on the bench. You put Hill and Anderson on the bench, presumably. That's probably what I would do. I put Hill and Anderson on the bench. Probably Anderson ahead of Hill. But I think I'd play Rodgers over Anderson. Again, that's just personally because, although Anderson's got he's got a better team, a better chance of getting 4 points and Rodgers might get 2 points. I think Rodgers, with that just small chance that Rodgers just spikes a 15-pointer would be enough for me to take the risk personally. But I appreciate not everyone's willing to take that risk and I'd rather take a cozy Anderson 4-pointer. Owner Ole says, thoughts, Rodgers, Senesi, Munoz, stack to play. I would play Rodgers and Munoz, I think. I play Rodgers and Munoz. Let's go back to the rate some teams. Isai is here. 2 free transfers, 0.5 in the bank. You want to get Virgil. I wouldn't sell O'Reilly to Virgil. I don't think you've got a route here to get Virgil, really. I don't know how you do it. The only way to get Virgil is maybe downgrading Rice and upgrading Rodon. Rodon's not so bad. As if he's available, I guess. Yeah. If you go cheap for your Rice replacement, the thing is, though, I'd want to save that Rice replacement for Wilson when he's available. So I don't think I'd sell Rice because I want to wait for Wilson to be back next week and maybe do Rice to Wilson in Gameweek 31, to be honest. Rice to Wilson in 31 looks good. I think that's what I'm going to do. Your bigger priority is getting Mane up to Ekitike, probably, but I don't know how you're going to do that other than selling Palmer. So maybe it's actually Palmer that goes. 2 free transfers there. I don't think you don't need Virgil because your team is strong enough. If Gabriel's going to play, Anderson's going to play, O'Reilly's got a good chance of playing, just start him and hope for the best. If that happens, amazing. And then you've got Senesi and Rodon, which I think is decent backup. The priority is getting Mane to Ekitike, in my opinion, and the only way to do that is to sell Palmer. So what I would personally do if this were my team, I'd do Palmer to Wilson, Mane to Ekitike. And even though Wilson is maybe not ideal this week, you don't have to start him this week because you're going to have enough cover anyway. And then you can think about a Rice replacement later. You'll have some money in the bank. You can think about Mbermo, maybe. You can think about Wirtz, if that's possible. There's going to be other options. There are going to be other options. So, yeah. That's what I would do. Birides says, what's the latest with Haaland and Wilson? Sorry, I'm late. I think the power of rolling is mad. It depends on how long they're both out. Both are going to have late assessments, is the short answer, to be honest with you, man. Both are late assessments, so we don't know which is going to be the case. I think they're both worth keeping, probably, unless, you don't have Ekitike, and just make sure you have bench cover, is what I would do. Ali, yes, I'll rate your team in a moment. Lucas here says, bench Rodgers for one of Vandenberg, Hill, or Karupi. Maybe Karupi because of the minutes risk, you would say? Seems the obvious one. Let's do Ali and Rohit's team, who are both here. So Ali says, I have 3 free transfers and 1.3 in the bank. What I do, I would do very little, to be honest. I mean, Enzo is the obvious sell, right? Enzo to Dango stands out to me. Can you get Enzo to Mbermo somehow? Enzo to Mbermo, do you have the money to do that? No. Could you make a downgrade elsewhere in order to do that? Probably. You could do it by selling Rice. I think I put Anderson first bench ahead of Malik Chow. In fact, I put Malik Chow third bench for this week. But I would keep Chow at this point. So, okay. Enzo and Rice to Dango and Mbermo. If that's possible, then I think that's what I would do. And Rohit said they're here as well. Already did Evan Nilsson to Thiago. Okay, so we need to get rid of Collins here. Very, very clearly. Although I don't know who I would replace him with this week. Anderson, actually. Collins to Anderson of Fulham fame. If you have the free transfers. Do you have free transfers? If you have another free transfer, I'd do Collins to Anderson and play him ahead of Richards and Hill. The rest of the team is arguably too good. You're not going to sell Rice because you have to use Brill. You just can bench Rice this game week. So no need for further transfers and attack. Carl's here as well. Excellent, excellent. Rohit, I don't think you need to make major changes, to be honest, because your team was in good shape. Right, Carl. Let's see. Have you got any extra information here? Do I need to use a transfer? If so, Gu to DCL or Rice and Burmo? Or Dango? Is Rice likely to be in Gameweek 32 wildcard? Is Rice likely to be in a Gameweek 32 wildcard? Yeah, I think there's a very good chance he will be, yeah. Very good chance. What would I do? If you have the money to do Rice to Mbermo, I would strongly consider that. I would strongly consider it. And then again, I think if you're willing to take a risk, I'd play Rodgers over Anderson. But if you want to play it safe, stick with Anderson. But yeah, Rice to Mbermo looks like a reasonably good move, a reasonably good shout. Perhaps the only issue with that is that maybe you need to save some money for the Mark U upgrade. Actually, no, you don't really. You don't, because how many players blank here in 31? Gabriel, Rice, who you're removing, so just Gabriel. Am I missing anyone? There's no Wolves, there's no Crystal Palace, there's no Man City. Yeah. Yeah, Rice to Mbermo. Is this team arguably too strong? No, it's fine. Rice to Mbermo looks good. I would do that move. For a lot of people, I would make that move. Nikhail, you're here as well. Let's see. 82 points last week. Very nice. 5.4 in the bank because you've already done Haaland to Ekitike. Gone early on it. What else would I do? I play Anderson instead of Hill. And that's about it, right? I think Hill's not such a bad bench cover for Wilson if he's unavailable. There's not really any issues in this team other than Wilson. And I think you just take a risk on him. So, yeah, I'd play Anderson over Hill, and then I'd just see what happens next and hope for the best. Aha. We got more people. So let's just go through. Let's just go. We're almost done all of the teams anyway, so let's just go through all of them. So Ben, what have we got here? 1.3 in the bank. Not sure about bench cover. Yeah, I think I'd play Van der Ven over Chow. As crazy as it sounds to play Spurs players. If you got any free transfers, one free transfer, 1.3 in the bank. Isn't selling Dorgu to Anderson maybe the play? That's what I'd do. I'd sell Dorgu, buy Anderson, and bench Chow. Nice and simple one. Really simple one. Jessal, lots of flags, but should I roll? Well, you've got Raya, Gabriel, Hill, Kanate. You're going to play. You got Anderson back up. You got Hill back up if O'Reilly doesn't play. I think you got enough backup. I think you got enough backup here. Unless you want to do Mukiele to Anderson. That's the one move that I'd maybe consider. Mukiele to Anderson, or you could Enzo to, yeah, maybe Enzo to someone. You can't afford Rice to Mbermo. But would you do Enzo? You can't really do Enzo to Wilson. Maybe just wait a week for that. Maybe Enzo to Dango. Enzo to Dango is maybe a potential option. Mukiele to Anderson, another option. So Enzo to Dango, Mukiele to Anderson, I think, your two big options. I think we did Ian's team already. I think. Yeah, we did. Ali's, did we do your team? 3 free transfer, 1.3 million in the bank. Yes, we did do this, I think. And we just did. I think Ayan's the last team I haven't done. I went haywire, made 5 transfers last game week, reaped a massive rank boost, but now I don't know what to do. Wow, okay. Well, you definitely take the rank boost. You got Rio and Gamoa. That is random. That is so random. Okay, fair enough, Ion. What would I do with this team? Nothing. Nothing needs to be done with this team. Other than maybe Mukiele to Anderson, which seems to be a popular suggestion. Yeah, Mukiele to Anderson maybe would work. But the rest of it looks good. Agbar says, hi, 1 free transfer, what would you do? Oh my word, it's another team ID. I can't believe it. Is this a thing? I didn't even know this was a thing. Since you asked. Since you super chatted. What would I do with this team? Sell Enzo. Depending on how much money you have in the bank. 0.8. Not very much. Cash, I guess you keep. Do you sell Cash? No, there's no one really to sell him to. Verts to Mbermo, or can you find a way to cover? Enzo to Dango. Should we just say Enzo to Dango? Yeah, Enzo to Dango is what I would do. I think. Nice and simple move. Actually, what am I doing? Righty-ho. I've not missed any super chats, have I? Probably double check. Kevin became a member. Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate that. Luke said bench Rogers for one of blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I did that one. Yeah, cool. All right, we're all caught up then in that case. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And only, I knew this would happen, it always happens, whilst rating the teams, only 400 people stopped watching. Jesus, that's a lot. I really need to stop doing team ratings in these streams. They're just not appealing to enough people. Well, okay. Well, if you have stuck around, I really do appreciate it. Please do drop a like. It is massively appreciated. Like the stream. It's the only way we can recover now. Because I really appreciate you guys who maybe weren't getting your team rated sticking around whilst we were doing those, because I know team ratings are often only interesting to the person whose team is being rated. And I apologize for that, I really do. But there literally wasn't any time to do a members stream this week. Literally no time. Like, it's been non-stop around the clock. Banging out videos since Sunday evening. But in a way, it's nice because it means next couple of days I get to chill out and watch the footy. If you not do rate my teams, you might lose members. Oh, I know, but I want everyone to be happy, don't I? I want everyone to be happy. Kevin, team ratings and stuff are only for members at the starting 11 tier membership or above. We do have to keep it reasonably exclusive, otherwise it will just be too time consuming, unfortunately. Bench list comes 1 hour before the deadline. You know the rules. So in 15 minutes, the bench list will be upon us. But yeah, let's just answer some non-member. I want to answer some non-member questions because I feel like we've given a lot of attention to members, and a lot of non-members have been sticking around for a little while, and maybe deserve a little cheeky reward. Joe says, me again, can't afford Evan Nilsson to Ekitike in one move, so thinking of getting Dango in for Rice. Is it worth it? My other option is probably Evan Nilsson to DCL, which I don't like. I mean, you could just, Dango in for Rice is fine. Yeah, if it's for free and that's the way to afford it, then yeah. And I don't mind that at all. Should I sell O'Reilly to Anderson? I think if I had O'Reilly, I would not be selling him. I would not be selling him. Super chat from Cody says, any advice? Oh my word. Okay, we're back to team ratings. Just when I wanted to stop. Okay, but I do appreciate the Aussie dollary dues. I really do. So yeah, we'll try and keep this brief, just so we can get back to chat questions. What would I do with this team? How many free transfers and money in the bank? So you've got nothing in the bank. You've got 2 free transfers. I would do. Where is all the money here? What? You've got nothing in the bank. I'm trying to figure out where the money's gone. Maybe it's in Verts. Would I do Verts and Mark? Can you afford Verts and Mark you to Ekitike and someone? No, you can't because you've got nothing in the bank. Huh. Yeah, this is a conundrum. It's not really worth taking a -4 here, is it? Probably not. I think maybe. I don't think this. Oh God, this is a tricky one. Oh man, they're rolling in now. The team IDs are rolling in. Okay. I should not have started this trend. I do really appreciate it. I really, really do, but this is not something that we typically do. What would I do with this team? I would probably, in all honesty, take a hit and do Wirtz, Gu, and Rice to Dango, Ekitike, and whatever midfielder you can afford, the best midfielder you can afford in replacement of, one of Rice and Wirtz. That's what I would do with this team. There you go. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and give a proper answer. Meanwhile, we'll go to the next one. Kevin's team. What would I do with this team? Pretty much nothing. What's it missing? It's missing Virgil. How much money's in the bank? 0.1. Not really too much that you can do with that. Forward line is fine. Midfield is fine-ish. There's not really a natural Enzo replacement that you can go for within your budget. Virgil is out of reach as well. I don't think there's much you can do with this team in one transfer, to be honest. I am struggling to think of a good suggestion. Richards to Anderson, maybe? That's kind of all I can think of. So there we go. VJ with a super chat here says, I've got Rice, Sarr, Richards, Timber, and Haaland. Should I take a -4 to move Rice to Szoboszlai? I don't think I would. Wilson / Haaland and Rice to start for me. Is Szoboszlai worth a -4? I don't think Szoboszlai is worth a -4. No. In terms of Wilson and Haaland and Rice, I think I would start all of them and hope for the best. Have something as a backup. Someone said that Arteta said on Sky Sports was saying Arteta said that Rice was available. It's not what the he said in the press conference, and I doubt he did something else. I very much doubt it. Why not Thiago as a captain this week? Bournemouth at home has conceded to striker position a lot so far. Yeah, definitely. And it's why I like Thiago as a pick. But is he captain material? Don't know. I don't think he is quite given that confidence because the form hasn't really been there, has it? So it's a nice positional matchup. It's a nice nice to have a penalty taker. It's a nice fixture in general. It's a nice pick. I don't think he's quite captain material for me. Although I wouldn't blame if someone was to go for Thiago captain. I wouldn't say bad captain, naughty. I go, yeah, fine, not for me, but fair enough. Patrick says, sell Rodgers for someone. Probably, I don't think I would. Rodgers probably still just about in the don't buy, don't sell category. Although if you're missing someone like Mbermo, I'd maybe think about Rodgers to Mbermo. Sell O'Reilly for Gahey? No, I don't think I would do that. I play I play O'Reilly and hope for the best because if he plays against Forest, that is insane points potential. Salem says, would you do Mane to Ekitike and Palmer to Njai and then bench Dango to cover if Wilson's not playing? Okay, it's interesting. I don't know how much I love Njai as a pick, but if you like him, then yes. Getting Mane to Ekitike and downgrading Palmer could be pretty huge. But it also has the potential to go wrong. Because remember, if Palmer gets a penalty this week, you might be down on points. So if you're prepared to take that risk, the problem is you don't have a natural Palmer replacement. I don't love Njai as a pick. I like him for this week, but beyond that, I am a little bit worried about him. Just a little bit. Matthew says, Q to DCL to cover Wilson instead of Enzo. Depends. Are you a Haaland owner? If you're not, if you have Thiago and Ekitike already, and DCL would be your third forward in addition to Thiago and Ekitike, then yes, I would do it, Matthew. However, I would try and save that Mark Hughes slot to move to either Thiago or Ekitike if possible. Maybe that's not possible this week. Maybe you do it next week. If so, fine. And for a lot of people, if you don't have Ekitike this week and you can't easily get to him, I think the money game really is next week against Spurs. I like the Spurs fixture for Ekitike a lot. So I'd be more willing to wait, I think, on that one. Wait. If you get Ekitike easily, then do it. But yeah, if it's like really, really difficult, we're talking hits, we're talking about restructuring and blah, blah, blah. Next week is also fine to pick him up. It's also fine. Yeah, he's good. Damien says, hi, Dan. Help me choose between the next options. Rodgers and Enzo out for Dango and Szoboszlai, or Enzo and Heaven out for Dango and Virgil. Oh, option 2, definitely. Definitely. Enzo and Heaven for Dango and Virgil. I like that a lot. If that's for free, Damien, that is a cracking pair of transfers. Love it. Absolutely love it. Start Rice or Wilson. Probably start Wilson ahead of Rice, right? Probably, given the form. You'd say. Dan, I really need help. Rice to Szoboszlai or Palmer to Bruno? Oh, Palmer to Bruno for sure. Yeah. Just because Bruno's your captain option. And yeah, it could be really useful. So I'd rather do Palmer to Bruno. Isn't Wilson injured? ¿Qué pasa? Maybe. Well, I don't know what's up with him. It's going to be a late decision. It's not looking particularly positive for this game week, but I think there's a chance. There's a chance he plays. We'll have to wait and see. Unfortunately, with these flagged players, these Doritoed players. Like, I know you can't. I know a lot of people come to these streams and whoever else's streams and videos and comments and what have you, expecting solid answers. Will this player be available? Will they play? Yes or no? You can only really give your opinion, and you can share the press conference news and stuff like that. But unless there's a leak, and there won't be a leak because the game's not until tomorrow, and these decisions won't even be made until tomorrow. It's a difficult position. Because you're asking me, will Wilson play in game week 29? I'd love to be able to tell you the answer. But the honest truth is that Wilson probably doesn't know if Wilson's playing tomorrow or not. I mean, there's a chance he does. Maybe he knows more. Maybe he knows he's unavailable. But we'll have to wait and see. If I was to give a percentage chance of Wilson starting, I would probably say I'd say he's probably got a 30 to 40% chance of starting. But that's just instinct and intuition and guesswork based on what I know, and other people may have different interpretations, different levels of hope and optimism, which I unfortunately do not have. So yeah, 30 to 40% chance of a start, and then a further 30% chance of a bench appearance, maybe. And then again, 30 to 40% chance. How's my maths here? It's about right. 30 to 40% chance of having no involvement whatsoever. Dan, can we do a captain ranking? Yes. Yes, we can. For me, it goes Bruno Fernandes, Ekitike, take a risk on Haaland. It's not for everyone. It's not for the faint-hearted. And then I don't even know at the bottom. Who's below that? At that point, you got a Semenyo there probably. And then after that, I'll probably, lump in Salah and Thiago in there as well. Maybe even Brian and Burmo in that category. Virgil can go in that category. Maybe Gabriel can go in that category. Bunch of other players. So that would be my personal ranking. But I think different people would give different answers to that one. Craig says, hi Dan, I can sell Haaland to Ekitike or I can do Evan Nilsson to Ekitike, but we'll have to downgrade Chalobah to a 5.3 million defender. I have 2 free transfers. I'd maybe just downgrade Chalobah at this point. Yeah, it depends what defenders you have missing. How much is Kanate, for example? If Kanate is 5.3, I don't think he is. I think he's 5.4, isn't he? But if he is 5.3, then I think you'd have to have a little look at him. Anderson of Fulham, I'd have a look at as well. Kanate 5.5 now, crikey. Yeah, all right. Well, then in that case, you're looking at Hill, Senesi, Anderson, something like that. Probably Anderson. If you don't have him, I would do that route. But maybe you do already have him. Ollie says Evan Nilsson to Ekitike and Rice to Dango for -4, or Evan Nilsson to Ekitike and Enzo to Stack. Or Juice Hall. They already have Garner, so not sure. Prefer the Rice route. Don't love it for a -4. But if you really don't like the look of Evan Nilsson and you're really worried about both Evan Nilsson and Rice, then I would do the Evan Nilsson Rice to Ekitike and Dango route. That's what I would do, even for a -4. If you are worried. If you're worried. And you might not be. Jojo says, instead of Rice to Dango, I can downgrade Senesi to Hill. Nah, I do Rice to Dango. Senesi to Hill is so sideways. Rice to Dango helps you for Game Week 31. Greetings, Daniel. Start 2. Enzo, Dango, Rodon, and Anderson. Well, free sold. In 2 minutes' time, we'll be doing the bench list, and you'll have all of your answers. Beautiful. All in one place. E-Man says, is this smart? -4, Enzo to Dango or Haaland to Thiago? Neither of those I would do. I might take a -4 to do, no. I wouldn't do either of those, move from -4 personally. What do you think of Iwobi for Rice? Not It's not a move I would make personally, I don't think. I'm happy, but I'm someone who's happy to keep and take a risk on Rice for the next 2 game weeks. Michael says Dango or Sharda. I prefer Dango just because he's cheaper. I don't think there's much between them. But if you really do want to go different, then go Sharda. But I think the benefits of spending the extra money are limited. What do you think about Bassi for Mukiele? It's Anderson or no one for me from that Fulham defence. Scorpio says Rice and Enzo to Semenyo and Wilson for a -4. I'm going to say definitely not on that one. Wilson's potentially injured. Semenyo genuinely could have some rotation risk soon. Not necessarily this week, but if you say that there's a good chance, and then we have to say that. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think you'd give it at least a 50% chance of Semenyo being benched in one of the next 2 game weeks. Because Man City, remember, are in every competition, play weekend, midweek, every single game. That's going to include 2 games against Real Madrid. It's going to include a FA Cup game against Newcastle. It's going to include a League Cup final against Arsenal. It's crazy. Although that's a little further down the line, but still, they've got so many games, and you could certainly see a world in which Semenyo is benched. So you're buying Semenyo. Sorry, you're taking a -4. Buying Semenyo is one thing, and if you feel you can cover it, great. But taking a -4 to buy Semenyo when he might get benched once in the next 2 game weeks, and then on top of that, he has no fixture in 31 at present. Doesn't look great. Maybe the exception to that might be if you've already wildcarded. If you've already wildcarded and actually Semenyo's there for the long term, and Semenyo's not a player who you're just going to wildcard in 32 regardless, then maybe that's more motivation to buy Semenyo. But for -4s, I don't love it, man. I don't love it. I think Semenyo's a player you kind of more buy if you have a lot of free transfers, rather than if he has no transfers. Nick says, would you captain/vice captain Semenyo if you had him? I think he's certainly in the conversation. I do think I probably prefer Bruno and Ekitike though. There's not very much in it. How do I honestly rate these guys? No, I've got to be honest. I prefer Bruno to Semenyo. Maybe there's more of an Ekitike conversation there. But if I had Semenyo in my team, I would only really be considering captaining him if I also didn't have Bruno in my team. Let's put it that way. So there we go. That's my answer to that one. Another super chat here from Sid Vicious. Haaland to Ekitike for free and captain him. For free. That's a weird noise I just made. For free. I don't know, man. I don't think so. I don't think I'll do it for... I think I'll just take a risk on Haaland, to be honest. That's really the way I'm leaning. There's still part of me that says captain Haaland. I'm still debating between these two, by the way. I've switched them around so many times. Who knows what the order will be by the time we get to deadline. But yeah, it depends. I guess if I was to buy Calvert-Lewin, I'd definitely put Alderete here. But because I now know I'm not going to buy Calvert-Lewin. I just don't know which way to put it. It could go either way. It might end up being important, so I should probably think about it. But yes, Haaland to Ekitike for free and captain him. I just don't think I would do it personally. I'd find another way to get Ekitike in, and that wouldn't have to be this week necessarily. Right, bench list. We promised you guys a bench list, and we shall deliver. So, are we going to do the Anderson thing today? I'm a little bit bored of it. We might park the Anderson thing for a little while. We'll keep the E's and the O's highlighted, though. Right. Oh, crap at that. What am I doing? So, bench list. I don't even know where to start with the bench list today. I'll throw in a couple of goalkeepers. Raya here. Dubravka is probably ahead of someone like Verbruggen if you have Verbruggen. And then if you have Kelleher, probably goes above. If you have, who else is there? Martinez, maybe here. I know some people bought him recently. Don't know who else. What other goalkeepers you guys got? All right, we got some suggestions for the bench list here as well. Right, so and we got Andersons in here. Do I prefer the? I think I may even prefer this Anderson this week to that Anderson. I'm gonna swap them around. But I would put Rice here. Let's not get it twisted. He is still potentially unavailable. Start with the injured guys. We could do, couldn't we? So, yeah. Let's do that. So, I'm going to put Haaland. And we'll put Wilson above Rice. I think Wilson's... No. This is so tricky. To make a decision on Wilson versus Rice is really tricky. But generally, I think I would start these guys. Ian says, Anderson, the plane engine is on. Yeah, I guess that does work. Because he's going back to Denmark, right? For the international break? Is that what you mean? That would work. Rice seems more likely to play. Yeah, for sure. I agree. Hill, in all honesty, is okay this week and only okay. Remove Timber for Virgil. Kind of optional. I don't think it's a big improvement there. Rodgers. I think just because of form, you probably do prefer some of these other guys to Rodgers. And just use Rodgers as a backup. And Andersen is from England. There you go. That's perfect. We'll try that next week. Hi, Dan. Love the shirt. Rice to Semenyo for free. If you have multiple free transfers, I would maybe do it. And if you've already wildcarded, I would maybe do it. But if not, probably not. I probably wouldn't. Only because I'm feeling quite positive on Rice. But we'll see. Alderete and Richards. I've been wrestling with this one all day. So which order to put them in? Who knows? I'm gonna put Richards above, which reminds me, I need to make sure in my team Richards is playing ahead of Alderete. I'm putting Richards ahead of Alderete, and that's because of my Spurs hatred. Why do content creators hate Raul? Rotation risk. Always get subbed at 60 to 70 minutes. Wildly inconsistent. I don't think they hate him. I just think, why go for him when you've got a perfectly good Ekitike's and Thiago's right there. Right, Senesi and Hill are one and the same at this point, I think. Duck race decider. If we're going to do a duck race decider, it needs to be for a very big, important decision. Malik Chow is going to go bottom of this list. Chalobah is also going to go fairly low for me. Hey, mate, you got the Anderson wrong. Son is English and Sen is Danish. Well, how do you know? How do you know I've got it wrong? You don't know what my preference on the order is. So how can you possibly tell which one's which? I don't even know. If you don't do Ekitike move, would you do Rice to Wilson? No. Rice is more likely to play than Wilson. You said N was English and on was on the plane. No, I didn't. I said, like, if you were to put an on at the end of Anderson, you could do like on the plane. Like, it would just help it work. As like an analogy, you could say Anderson on the plane and Anderson England, and that would help you know which one was which if I was to write it down that way, and wouldn't be confusing at all in the slightest. Right, super chat here from Ivo says Rodgers for Gakpo, Rodgers for Njai, or some other. Keep Rodgers, to be honest, mate. To be honest, I think I would just keep Rodgers rather than make a move for either of those. Neither fill me with confidence. Mohammed says, what are the updates on Haaland, Wilson, and Anderson from Fulham? So Anderson from Fulham is absolutely fine. Has just recovered from illness. Wilson is not looking super good. There's obviously an issue with his ankle, and there wasn't really any strong indication to suggest that he was going to play, or at least to start. So I'm pretty unconvinced by Wilson from the press conferences, because they're assessing him. He's having ongoing assessment, which doesn't sound too positive, to be honest. And Haaland is presumed to be back in training today. Feeling better apparently, but again, will be another player who's assessed. If we're going to be technical about it, Anderson is a Scottish name. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. But he is English. Scottish ancestors. Is Elliot a Scottish name? That's the question. Is Elliot an English name? It feels like it could have a little bit of something to it. Or is it just box standard English name? Maybe I'm completely wrong. Dango. Yeah. So Dango you play, right? Dango's a pretty straightforward play. By the way, if you're keeping Haaland, I would play him pretty much no matter what. Oh, we need to do O'Reilly as well. Again, I would, if I had O'Reilly, I'd play him above a lot of these guys, actually. Joao Pedro is an interesting one. Will O'Reilly be playing? Yeah, not sure. Not sure. Pep Guardiola didn't really say very much about O'Reilly, to be honest, other than they're going to assess him and we'll see. That was it, really. So unclear. But I think I'd take the risk and start him if you have him. Right, what was I going to do? I was going to do Joao Pedro and Enzo as well. So Joao Pedro, I'd maybe make some effort to play him. I'd play him above Rodgers, for example, and maybe play him above Wilson and Rice, to be fair. Yeah, I will. I will say that. Okay. Enzo, not so convinced by. I'd maybe put him here. Wilson or Dango to start. And by the way, I'm captaining Njai. You have lost your get damn mind. I mean, it's interesting. Operation Target Burnley is a go. I'd start Dango over Wilson. Yeah, I'd start Dango over Wilson if I had both. Just because of that rotation, well, not rotation, the risk that he's not available and is going to be injured. With Wilson, I mean. Captain and Jai, man, good luck. That's all I'm going to say. Kevin, thank you very much for upgrading your membership. Mucho apreciado. Matthias, yes, you did miss the membership teams. We did that during the first hour and a half of the stream. And we're getting close to deadline, man. But Matthias, if you do have any questions, please drop them in the chat and I'll make sure I answer you. If you have any concerns or questions around your team. Fred says, sell Verts for Dango or Collins for a defender. 1 free transfer, nothing in the bank. Alderweireld, Collins, Verts on the bench with playing Haaland, Rice, and have Hill. Could you do Collins to Anderson, Fulham Anderson? If so, do it. That's what I would do. If you're looking for a Collins replacement, Anderson at Fulham, it's a good time to buy. It's a good time to buy. Max says Van Hecker and Burmo. I can't believe how many people have Van Hecker. Every week we get Van. And in fact, I'm pretty sure it's just you, Mike, who asks for Van Hecker every week. And you're the only guy. If there's anyone else who wants Van Hecker, and I'm wrong, please correct me. If you want Van Hecker on the bench list, by all means. But I do try and avoid differentials. And Burmo, on the other hand, is a very easy play, I think, this week. Like, very, very easy play. Where would you put Munoz on this list? A lot of people do have Munoz, in fairness. I think the fact that he has a hacking threat would make me more inclined to play him. So I'm going to put him here. All right, Matthias says, cheers, Dan. My question was, 1 free transfer, 1.7 in the bank. Do I sell Rice for Ekitike? My team is in the Google Drive also. You know what? I won't put it on screen, but I'll look in the drive. And have a quick look in here. Just so I can get some more context on your team. Rice, how are you going to sell Rice for Ekitike with 1 free transfer? You have to take a hit. But who would you even bring in? I guess Wilson, right? And bench him. Or play him ahead of Anderson and hope for the best. If you can do Rice, how are you on earth are you going to get Obi to Ekitike just by selling Rice? Is it even possible? I'm going to say Rice to Wilson, but that's not going to do it, is it? I can't... Looking at your team, I can't figure out a way to get Rice and Obi to anyone in Ekitike. I mean, if it's possible, then yeah. As long as you're bringing in a playing player for that midfield slot. If it's possible, then yeah, you could maybe take a hit to do it. But honestly, I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure. There's maybe an argument to... Unless I'm looking at the wrong team here. I'm looking at the one uploaded, yeah, very recently. Yeah, that must be your team. I don't know, man. I don't know how you do it. I don't think it's possible to get Ekitike in this team. I don't know. It would take major restructuring. Yeah, it's the right team. I'm looking at your team. Yeah, you would need so much surgery to get Ekitike into this team. I just don't think it's possible for you this week. The only way is to sell Haaland. If you're willing to sell Haaland, then just doing Haaland to Ekitike. If you don't like the look of Haaland, then fair enough. Maybe there is some argument to do that. There's literally no other way. In your case, I would maybe do Haaland to Ekitike. But you have to be really... I can't make that decision for you. I really can't. It's too risky. It's too risky. But anyway, back to the bench list. Who else do we want? Any update on Haaland? Not since earlier today. Yeah, he's presumably Haaland is back in training today and will be assessed. But Haaland's feeling a little bit better apparently, which is good. That's not to say he's going to start or he's ready to go or anything, but it's looking more positive. Right, Rodon. What is the Rodon injury situation? I need to actually look this up before anything else. Rodon injury. I've not actually looked at this today. Was there an update on Rodon? I know he picked up an injury. Leeds boss Daniel Farke expects Rodon to be available for the upcoming Premier League clash with Sunderland. That sounds positive to me. Oh, we had a press conference on Monday. Yesterday. Must have missed that one. Okay, well, I mean, I think that's fairly positive on Rodon in that case. Maybe we can go ahead and give him a reasonably positive rating on the bench list. Taurine says, Dan, 3 yellow flags, O'Reilly, Haaland, Rice, 1 red flag, Mukiele. Don't want to risk not having 11 or go for it. 1 free transfer, nothing on the bank, 1 eye on Gameweek 31. If you could do... no, you can't do Mukiele to Anderson because you have nothing in the bank. I mean, as long as Mukiele is your only non-playing player on your bench and you have 2 other players who will play, then I would I would just roll and just take the risk and hope for the best, to be honest. Because there's nothing you can really do other than, you know, if you already have Dango, for example, then you can't do Rice to Dango, but maybe Rice to Dango could work. You're not going to sell O'Reilly. You're probably not going to sell Haaland if you have Ekitike and Thiago already. Either sell Rice for a midfielder that you like, but make sure it's a midfielder you do like, or just roll, I think. That's what we'll do. Kevin, we're not doing folder team ratings anymore. Kevin, we spent a good few minutes on your team already, man. I do really appreciate you joining as a member, but I think we probably won't rate the same person's team more than once because that would be a little bit much, I think. Just because lots of people have questions and stuff. Well, we've only got 40 minutes till deadline now. We were only really doing the team rating stuff in the first half of the stream, or first more than half of the stream, really. But yeah, Kevin, if you want to stick around as a member, by all means, we'll be doing more team ratings every single game week for you guys. So yeah, there'll be a dedicated members only stream where you can upload your team in the Google Drive, which is linked on my channel homepage, only available to members at the starting 11 tier or above. We're not going to do any more team ratings today because we are getting a little close to deadline. If that is disappointing, please feel free to cancel your membership. I don't want you to be paying for something that is not for you at all. But yeah, any members who obviously weren't around for team ratings and stuff like that, please feel free to put questions in the chat. I always try and prioritize members' chats if there are any specific questions you have. Right. Rohit says bench one of Rice, Thiago, and Haaland. You're not going to bench Thiago. Come on, man. No, Rohit. Come on, please. If I had to bench one of them, it'd be Rice. Helenator is very, very keen to see Saar on the bench list. Mabel says FPL Mate is on fire. The rant, he could have rated the team by now. What do you mean? I was ranting for, what, 20 seconds? And it was more to just give a message to everyone. Because if I rate one person's team now, the rest of the stream is dedicated to rating teams. And we are 37 minutes till deadline. I can't. I've got to be harsh. You know, it's tough love. Sometimes you've got to receive tough love. Let's put Saar on the in here. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but like when deadlines are tight, there's not really too much we can do about it. We try our best to rate teams and make sure everyone's happy, but it's an impossible task to juggle. So Ismaila Sarr against Spurs, I'll be totally honest, I will be looking to play any player playing against Spurs. So Sarr is going to go high. Kagan says, already have Dango, sell Rice and Jai or roll. I would probably roll in your situation. Stefan says, I have O'Reilly, Wilson, Haaland, Flag, just Ekitike, no Virgil, Dango or Rice. think that's fine. Generally. Dango, you don't need Dango. Dango's a luxury player. Virgil's nice to have, but I don't think you have to have him. You have no Rice, which is good. 0.7 in the bank, 1 free transfer. Haaland for Thiago. So you already have Ekitike. I don't think I'd sell Haaland for Thiago. You could do Enzo to Dango, maybe. You could maybe do Enzo to Dango, but yeah, I'd for sure keep Wilson. I think unless you're moving Haaland to Ekitike, I would keep Haaland. And O'Reilly, I would just take a punt on and just take a risk. Common Arsenal says, hey, Dan, I'm going crazy. Should I captain Dango? Love from Oz. No, that's too far, man. That's too far. Taster says, who's better, Elliot Anderson, Defcon, or Rodgers bad form? The thing is, Anderson against Man City, he's only got a 90% chance of Defcon, which is a little bit less than usual. And probably not going to get an attacking return. Probably, although you never know. I would play Rodgers ahead of Elliot Anderson, I think. Just because of the higher ceiling. Like, say Anderson does get his 4-pointer and Rodgers gets his usual 2-pointer, you've lost 2 points. So if it, in a worst case scenario, like, it's not really that bad, right? You would say. Mabel says, hey, mate, now answer my question. Give to Ekitike and Rice and Jai for free. I don't mind. I don't hate it. I quite like it, actually. Haaland for Ekitike. If you like that move, then go for it. I'm not super comfortable with giving that recommendation because I'm not convinced by it. If you are unconvinced by Haaland and you really want Ekitike, then do it. But I don't know how much doubt you have in Haaland. And this goes to everyone. If you have a lot of doubt in Haaland and you're just unhappy with him generally, you're worried about his injury, you know you're going to sell him in 31 because of the blank. You're not worried about losing team value. Maybe you don't have much team value in him. You know, at that point, yeah, just go for Ekitike and hopefully that will pay you back big time. But just be aware that Haaland, if he plays this week, if he starts against Forest, he's a good player. He's a good pick, and he's probably going to get some points. And that's kind of the risk you take. Show Team Gang. Is the Show Team Gang here already? A little early. Estev on the bench list. Not going to go crazy high, to be honest. Even against Everton. Would I put him above Malik Chow? Or Chalobah? Probably not. No, I'm going to put Estev pretty low, to be honest. Oh, we said I was going to put Rodon in, didn't I? Rodon, I don't mind. If I had Rodon, I'd maybe be looking... I'd maybe place him in a similar kind of area to Hill and Senesi. Maybe even above. I'm going to put Rodon here. Yeah. It's tight. It's close. I'm not super convinced by it, but... Actually, I'm not convinced enough. I'm going to drop Rodon down here. Actually, Estev against Everton. That's a good chance of Defcon there. So actually, I'm going to boost Estev up 1 above Chow. Chow for now. Kanate. You're not nobody's benching Kanate here. Come on, man. No one's benching Kanate. Why is Chow so low? In my honest opinion, better than Senesi and Alderete. Why? Then against Manchester United, man. Manchester United scoring against everyone at the moment. Chow's kind of not super high on kind of the Defcon tier list either. Like, he's one of the better ones, but, you know, he's far from guaranteed Defcon. Chow could easily be on a 1-pointer this week. Easily. But of course, as always, if you do like a player, like, obviously these videos, these streams, it's just one man's opinion. And I definitely encourage you, if you disagree with me, to go with your gut. You should always go with your gut. I'm more here to offer an opinion in situations you might be unsure, and maybe I can help you out if you're unsure about things. But if you're sure about something, Please, please. I've been wrong many times before, and I'll be wrong many times in the future. I'm definitely not saying I know everything. Sid Fisher says -4 Haaland and Rice to Ekitike and Salah. For a -4. For a -4, no. I think if it were for free, then maybe. But considering I could do for a -4 Haaland and Rice to Ekitike and Salah, I could do that right now with my team if I wanted to. And I've thought about it. I thought about it, and I cannot convince myself that it's something I want to do because it's just not. So, in my view, I would not do that -4. Expected minutes of Rice, it is 0 or 80 plus. That's my X minutes on him. Expecting any leaks? You never know. You never know. Don't want to make any promises, but you never know with these things. Well, and when we get closer to deadline, we'll definitely be keeping a very close eye on leaks, and we'll share any that we have, as always. Right, Evan Nilsson, they're begging. Their chat are begging for Evan Nilsson. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to go that high, though, is he? Injury issue. Not the best fixture in the world. I feel like here, Evan Ilson. There we go. Should we make these guys yellow? Text. There we go. I'm going to change the color of the E and the O as well. To blue, probably not. Pink. Oh, that is not readable. That is not readable. It's so hard to pick a color that works on green. Maybe black is the answer. There we go. Creepy Jr. Creepy Jr. I think looks reasonably good for minutes, but I wouldn't put him super high. I'll probably put Creepy here. Let's look at this. Do I actually believe that? No, I don't. Who am I kidding? Creepy Jr. is here because he's rotation risk. He's not got the best fixture in the world. I mean, it's okay, but it's not amazing. Yeah. That feels right to me. Nick Star says start 2, Creepy, Anderson, Dango, Rice. I think all of them are on the bench list. So Anderson's above Creepy. Dango and Rice are above all of the others. So it's Dango and Rice. Is your answer, Nick Star? Sarr is already on the list, Ronan. Enzo Lefay. Stagboy wants Iwobi on the bench list because Stagboy has just bought Iwobi or is thinking about buying Iwobi and wants to use the bench list, my precious, amazing, gorgeous bench list, as a tier list for transfers. That's not what it is, unfortunately. It is a bench list. We make bench decisions. If you just bought Iwobi, I already know you're going to play him. And if you're asking for transfer advice around Iwobi, that's another question entirely. What else was I going to do? Enzo Lefay. Few people have Lefay. Okay, so Enzo Lefay, hip hip hooray. Where are you going on the list today? You're going here. Here? Yes. No. Here. Yes. Hey Dan, you missed an earlier super chat. Okay, Ahmed, I'm so sorry. Let me see. How earlier was it? I'm just going through my super chats over the last 20 minutes and I can't see you, Ahmed. Let's go further back. Back further still. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Wait, I think I... Did I answer this one already? Maybe I didn't. All right, well, let's have a look at it anyway. 3 yellow flags. I want to do 2 free transfers, -4, to bring in Ekitike and a 6.5 million midfielder for Obi and Rice. Already have Dango and Wilson. Who is the best 6.5 mid for 3 game weeks? No, I didn't answer this, and I apologise, Ahmed. I do apologise. Okay, well, if you're set on it, I told you a sneeze was coming. I told you a sneeze was coming. I thought it was coming like an hour ago, but there it was. Okay. 6.5 million or less midfielder whose name is not Dango and is not Wilson for the next 3 game weeks in isolation is Tavernier or is Elliot Anderson the boring answer? Maybe. All right. Okay. I'm gonna say Anderson, Tavernier, and Jai. Anderson boring, Tavernier risky, and Jai punty. More of a 1 week punt, to be honest. There's not a huge amount of options, if I'm totally honest. If none of those convince you, you will struggle to find a player to convince you, to be honest. Because there's not a huge amount. I missed another super chat from Mohammed as well. I don't know what you're trying to insinuate there, Mohammed, but I am sure you are off course. I'm going to check to see if there's any super chats from Mohammed. Oh, there was. Wait, no! I answered that. Mohammed Bassam, I literally answered you. He said, what are the updates on not Haaland, Wilson, and Anderson from Fulham? I told you, I said Haaland is feeling better and will train and will be assessed. Wilson, it doesn't look as positive on, and there doesn't seem to be any idea of when he'll be back, if he's back this week or not. And I said that Anderson is fine, he's recovered from his illness. I remember answering that. Maybe you're mistaken, my friend. Eric says DCL and Salah / Palmer in for Haaland and Lafay out -4. Not something I'd be interested in, no. Not personally. I would probably rather have Haaland and maybe playing Haaland for this week than a Salah / Palmer, who I fully expect to blank this week. I'm not saying they will, but I think Haaland has got similar points potential to Salah and Palmer, so to do a switch for a -4 doesn't quite sit well with me. And I don't know who else you're selling, but we'll see. OG Madman says Anderson, Rogers, Zubimende, Enzo, Senesi, 2 to play. I would play Rogers and Anderson and bench Senesi, I think. Yeah, I'm happy with that answer. Right, bench list. Any more players? We've got room for a few more players on the bench list. Start Keane against Burnley. I don't think Keane's even going to play. Ryan, yeah, a few people did pick up Ryan. I think if you did buy him, then I would probably play him, but I think he's an okay pick for this week. I'm going to put him here. Garner, I like for this week, actually. I'm pretty... maybe even above Ryan, Gonna put him here. Dewsbury Hall would go higher still. I don't think many will go against it. These live chats are so messy. How would you prefer them to be structured, Brendan? I welcome all feedback, my friend. Or do you mean other people and their messages? Are other people's messages messy? But yes, if there's something I can do to improve things, please do let me know. Have you dropped Haaland? No, I'm keeping Haaland. Can we see your team? The show team gang are officially here. Crazy. Let's just add a couple more players to the bench list, and then we'll go. I'll talk a little bit about my team. So, seeing shouts of Tavernier. So I think we can probably put him on the bench list. There is some rotation risk attached to Tavernier, but I think if he plays, he's good. I am going to, because of the rotation risk, I'm not going to put him super high. But I'd be willing to put him reasonably high. And questions around Calvert-Lewin as well. Ahmad, please. Ahmad's not going on the bench list. Nobody has Ahmad. And for what it's worth, I play Rodgers over Ahmad. Just because I think there's no guarantee Ahmad plays. Calvert-Lewin can go on here because I think a lot of people do have him. I mean, I definitely start him. Ahead of Joao Pedro, ahead of Dango, ahead of Sarr. Yes. I'm going to put Calvert-Lewin pretty high. To the extent he maybe shouldn't even be on the bench list. Cool. Well, he's in and he's on. Petrovic, overall under Dubravka on the list. Ooh, good question. I think above Dubravka. Maybe even above Martinez, to be honest. Let's stick him here. Not above Kelleher, though, I don't think. I fancy Kelleher a little more than Petrovic this week. Oh, Sanchez. Sanchez is a good shout. Let's see. So Aston Villa away from home. Aston Villa obviously a little out of form at the moment, though. Would you fancy him above Petrovic? Probably, but maybe not above Kelleher. I'm going to put Sanchez here. Yes. And who else? I think a lot of the players you're suggesting, I am really sorry. But yeah, we try and keep the bench list for popular players only. I know, you know, there's going to be people out there who have, I don't know, like Zinchenko in their team. It's a bad example. Zinchenko's left Arsenal. But, you know, I'm sure there's someone with, I don't know, Aiden Heaven in their team or something like that. Or you know, I could list an infinite amount of players who are sub 1% owned. But I'm not going to put them on the bench list because every time I add a player, the text gets a little bit smaller and it just becomes less useful for everyone. So I do apologize, but yeah, we gotta stay true to the format, make sure it's very useful for most people. Although to be fair, a few people have asked for stack. Initially I did think stack differential, but actually I've seen a few people ask for stack now, so maybe actually he does need to go in. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't put him super high. He's a bit of a set piece merchant, can get DEFCON. Got a better fixture than Elliot Anderson. Would I play him above Creepy? Probably not. I'm going to put him here. I'm going to put him there. And I don't think many people will be happy with that. He's better than some players. But, like, you're not rushing to... You know, if you have him and Enzo, you play him above Enzo, for example. Ruff's just called, offended not to make the list. All right. To be fair, a lot of people have Ruffs. Yeah. We can put him on. I did see some rumors about Ruffs not starting. I don't know how true that is. In fact, I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it. But yeah, I feel like I read that somewhere. Maybe I'm being an idiot and I didn't read that at all. Maybe I dreamt it. That's also a possibility. I did have a snooze this afternoon, so sometimes my mind gets muddled if I sleep during the day. But would I start him? He's not getting a sub on, so even if that is the case, it's not really going to be a factor. So Ruffs can go higher than Sanchez, higher than Kelleher. Yes. Okay, he's going in. Super chat here from Juan, who says Haaland, Newcastle, Real Madrid, West Ham, Real Madrid, then blank Gameweek 31. Sell. Yeah, I mean, if you think he's going to get rotated in Premier League games, then by all means, sell him. Particularly if you don't have Ekitike, then Haaland to Ekitike is going to make sense for some people. But I wouldn't just sell Haaland for the sake of it. If he plays this game week against Forest, if he plays against West Ham, then he's going to be very dangerous in those game weeks. And if you're going to lose team value on him as well, then you don't need to sell him. But yeah, certainly an optional sell if you don't have Ekitike. I think that's pretty much where I'm at with Haaland. If you don't have Ekitike, I would think about selling him, particularly if you have 2 free transfers and can reinvest that money into something else. Like upgrading, I don't know, a Enzo to an Mbermo or something like that, which would be really, really helpful for your team. If that's the case, fabulous. Do it. But if you already have Ekitike, there's no natural Haaland replacement for you. I don't mind just keeping him. Cody says Russ is doing much better after making the list. Appreciate you, Dan. No problem, man. No problem. Right. Can we get an EPL mascot bench list? They're all on the bench, aren't they? Well, are they even allowed to sit on the bench? Maybe. Maybe not. Right. I think we're reasonably happy with that just for the second. Oh, what is going on there? I think I might need to get a new laptop, to be honest, because we're getting a little bit of lag these days. I've had this computer for like 5 years. What's that? See what it is. Hello? Yep. Ugh. You again. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yes. Okay. I said yes. You don't have to keep going on. Can I just stick it to the live chat like you usually do? Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever. I'll see you later. And yes, fine. I will. Oh. That was the chairman of the show team gang. He's getting fed up. The members of the show team gang are very, very upset that I haven't showed my team in like hours. So, sorry to everyone who was enjoying the bench list, but the show team gang need to get their fix. So, let's run through my team very quickly. So, we've got Raya in goal, Gabriel, keeping them. Virgil, no problem. Hill, I'm going to play. I wouldn't be totally against playing one of Richards or Alderete above Hill. I don't think there's a huge amount between them, but I think Hill with his home fixture, and I think the Brentford fixture does favour Defcons as well. So I'm going to go for Hill. Midfield of Dango, Bruno, and Burmo, no problem. Rice, some concerns around him, but I feel a little optimistic that Rice will play. And if Rice does play, it's not just this game week. I also kind of want him for the Everton at home fixture in game week 32. So I'm thinking that sounded like I was saying 32, 32. So I would quite like to keep Rice. So I will. I feel like I have enough bench coverage if Rice is not playing. And I do feel like Rice is the kind of player who either plays or he doesn't. He's either going to start or he's going to be not in the squad at all. We'll find out what happens come tomorrow evening. But if Rice plays, he's a kind of a player I'd quite like to have. So, yes, that's going to be my midfield. Up front, Haaland, Thiago, Ekitike. Haaland is the big question mark. I already have Ekitike, so I can't think of a Haaland replacement that I'm happy with. Calvert-Lewin is the closest in terms of forward replacements that I would kind of think about buying. However, I think there's still a significant chance Haaland does start. If he's in training, if he's feeling better, then these are positive signs. Man City have to go super serious in the Premier League, of course. So we're looking at Haaland this week. We're looking at Haaland next week against West Ham as well in a little while. Of course, that game is betwixt the Real Madrid games, but I don't know. I feel like I feel like it's really, really difficult to make an assessment on that. I just feel like that Haaland, if he plays, is going to be a player I want. And to be honest with you guys, if I were to sell Haaland, I'm not really interested in getting a Salah, for example. Not doesn't really interest me. Verts maybe, but Verts is not available this week. So, I'm struggling to find ways of spending Haaland money. So I'm just going to keep Haaland as well. I think in all likeliness, one of Rice or Haaland will start. And if one of them doesn't, then I'm happy for Anderson to come off the bench. And honestly, if Richards has to come off my bench as well, I'm okay with it. I'm okay. Like, it's fine. It's maybe not perfect, but I'm not going to be upset about that necessarily. Spurs are obviously a team that are struggling generally at the moment. So yeah, I'd be fine with it. So that is my team. That is what I'm thinking. I'm reasonably happy with my decisions on that one. And just going to take a risk and see what happens. So there you go. Show team gang. That's my team. No transfers. Captain's armband on Bruno Fernandes, incidentally. And vice captain on Ekitike. I think because I'm taking some risks with Rice and Haaland, that I want to go a bit safer with Bruno. Minutes man, routes to points, Bruno Fernandes captain. Obviously, Ekitike is a little riskier, probably early subs. Maybe has a similar ceiling to Bruno. Maybe has, obviously, goals in his locker. But yeah, Newcastle have been pretty poor recently, even when playing at home. I'm going Bruno captain. But there's nothing wrong with Ekitike captain. There's nothing wrong with Haaland captain. There's nothing wrong with Semenyo captain. There's loads of options. I'm just choosing to go safer on my captain because I'm taking risks with my starting 11, I guess. And yeah, I think a lot of the decisions I made this week are down to when in doubt, do nothing. So that's the spiel on my team for this game week. And now, in hindsight, I've just kind of realized that the show team gang don't care about my reasoning. They just want to see my team to copy it. So maybe that was a waste of time explaining why I'm doing the things I'm doing. They just want to see my team. They want to look at it, see what move I made, potentially copy it, or do something similar, and move on with their lives. And they probably already moved on long ago. As soon as the team came on screen, they paused the stream, and they've now left. Such is the way of the show team gang. But alas, we've got a couple of super chats here, and then we can do a little bit more, maybe bench list, a little bit of Q&A as well, and we'll of course check for leaks too. So Mohammed here says, would you start Senesi, Krupi, or Chalobah for Wilson, or bring in Van Dijk for Chalobah with one free transfer? If you have one free transfer and you can afford to move Chalobah out to Virgil, then I think there's a very strong argument to just go ahead and do it. So yeah, I would potentially I wouldn't start Krupi. I would start Wilson ahead of all of those players you mentioned, to be honest, and the bench just kind of backs that up. But I would potentially bring in Van Dijk for Chalobah if you have a free transfer and you can afford to do it. It's a quite nice move. Kaz here says, Dead End 31, 2 free transfers, Vandenberg, Anderson to Virgil, and Garner to Tav as a 5th mid. Oh, I would keep Garner. You don't need to sell Garner. Or is that to free up money? No, Garner's about the same price, isn't he? I mean, if you can afford to do Vandenberg, certainly not Anderson. Anderson you play this week. Vandenberg to Virgil looks nice, though. I like that. If you can do that for free, for one transfer, I would do it. I would keep Garner. I would definitely keep Anderson as well. Everything else looks good. If you can't afford to... what price is Garner? I need to actually check this. Because is that a funding transfer? Because that does impact things. Garner is 5.2, so it's not a funding transfer if you're thinking about moving him to Tavernier. Yeah, just do Vandenberg to Virgil if you've got the money. If you don't have the money, don't do nothing when in doubt. Oliver says, which captain do... Oh, also, Kaz says, I love your content, by the way, avid subscriber. And I do really appreciate that, Kaz. Thank you so much for sticking around. Oliver says, which captain do you prefer, Bruno, Haaland, or Thiago? I personally prefer Bruno, but I don't think there's a wrong answer. I think the most wrong answer is Thiago because of the form, but I prefer Bruno to Haaland and prefer both Bruno and Haaland to Thiago. Right. Next super chat. Smither says start 2. Wilson, Ryan, Thiago. I would start Thiago. And I think I'd... according to the bench list, I have Ryan below Wilson, but there's not much in it. I would maybe go for Wilson above Ryan. So I'm going to say Thiago and Wilson. Ryan first bench. Thiago I'm very confident in. I'm very confident in him as a pick. So, I mean, some people are talking about captaining him, so you're certainly not going to bench him. Jacob says Wilson as captain would be crazy. It would, unfortunately, because of that risk of the 1-pointers, the bench, a few minutes off the bench type deal. Yeah, Wilson as a captain just doesn't work because of the injury status, unfortunately. Matthias, this last minute decision, thinking of selling Rice for Szoboszlai. Not something I would do personally, I don't think. Jake says captain Ekitike, Haaland, Semenyo, or Bruno. Bruno is my choice. But all 4 of those are good options. The chat, by the way, incidentally, in the poll, and there's somehow, I don't know how, there's over 6,000 votes in this poll. So there must have been throughout this stream that we must have had a lot of people dipping in and out. So Bruno is 32%, Ekitike 29%, Other is 27%, and Semenyo 12%. Lemon squash or Captain Sepp Vandenberg. Well, shepherd's pie. I would probably just drink the lemon squash, to be fair. Like, with the deep regret, I would have to take the lemon squash. Because there's only one thing more important than my taste buds, and that's FPL points. Bench Timber or Dango? Oh, surely you can bench someone else. I guess bench Timber? But I'm not happy about that. Not happy about it. TK, I don't think Wolves will put out a weak team out because they're not. It's not like they're in European football or League Cup. They're not like, fatigued from playing like loads of games or anything like that. So I think they'll be perfectly fine to play, as a one-off midweek weekend. Well, sorry, midweek weekend as a one-off. I don't think it'll be a big deal. We've done it already. WFC says love the kit. Good. Me too. We do like a little bit of a different kit now and again. What else we got here? Anderson above Hill. Yeah, I think so. Play Anderson over Wilson? No. A lot of, by the way, as always, a lot of your bench-related questions are answered in the bench list. So, yeah, feel free to check on screen, and you might actually see a lot of the players that you have already listed in bench priority order. But, guys, we are getting super close to deadline. It is 3 minutes till deadline, and we're getting asked questions like bench Rooney or Donald Duck. Have a blessed week. Thank you very much, Jacob. I'm mucho apreciado. Bench Rooney or Donald? I guess I would bench Donald Duck, given that he is fictitious, and even the fictionalized Duck is not a football player. I just feel like Rooney would probably do a better job. To be honest, best Rodgers replacement. I can't believe people are throwing in super chats 2 minutes before deadline, but we are where we are. Best Rodgers replacement is to not sell Rodgers, unless you're missing someone like Mbeumo, and you can easily move Rodgers to Mbeumo in one transfer, or if downgrading Rodgers allows you to move, like, I don't know, a Gu or a Chido Obi to an Ekitike, and you just need a little bit of money, and selling Rodgers allows you to do that, then I would just keep Rodgers. But at this point, you're probably too late to be doing tinkerings to any significant amount. As far as leaks go, let's have a look. I don't think we really have anything at all. So I think that's just maybe a nature of the games that are on this evening. So no leaks, unfortunately. Very close to the deadline, I know. So yeah, I'm gonna take the bench list off screen. Okay, we've got another question for Jacob. Just throwing money at me, apparently. I'll take it. I'll take your money. Bench Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse? Oh boy, that was terrible. Why did my voice crack? I'm going to bench Donald Duck and play Mickey Mouse in the striker position. Yes, let's go with that. And let's take the bench list off screen. We're panicking because there's 40 seconds until deadline. Maybe I should do a quick refresh on my team just to make sure everything has saved beautifully and wonderfully. And it would appear it has. I'm happy. I'm ready. Are you? I really hope so, because deadline is about to pass and decision-making time is just about over. Jacob says he likes throwing money at me. $2 at a time, $2.69 at a time. We appreciate it. Thank you. I'll answer as many Disney questions as you like, as long as you keep paying me. Right. Are we locked in, guys? I hope so, because there's 10 seconds. There's 9 until the deadline. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy new game week. Game week 29 is here. Ta-da! Hopefully that didn't wake up too many dogs and babies, but there we go. Right. There we go. We're locked in. How are we feeling? Are we feeling good? Are we feeling ready to go? Hopefully. Because the game week is upon us. 1% of that sound came through the mic. Okay, good. Good. What about cats and oldies? Can't wake up an oldie. Can you? They're famously hard to wake up. Cats, maybe. Do cats respond to deep noises? Don't know. You've been drinking, Dan? No, I've just been streaming for like 3 hours. I think we're probably going to wrap things up because we have been streaming for so long. Then that's no real. Is there any early team news we're going to get that is interesting? You know what? Screw it. It's 15 minutes till team news. Let's stick around. Let's stick around. If I can stream for this long, I can stream for a little bit longer. But then I really do need to go and, I don't know, eat, lay down, calm down, to be honest. I'm sorry, I've been waiting so long to take a sip of drink because it's just been non-stop talking. Ruff's apparently out. Yeah, I said earlier that I felt like I saw that, and I started doubting myself. What's your dinner? I don't know. I don't know what I'll cook today. We'll see. We'll see what my wife would like. It's rare that I'm actually off and finish work at this time, so it's quite nice. Usually I'm kind of videoing until God knows what time. Jacob is continuing to send money to me. $7 this time. He's upping the stakes. Would you rather eat cake that tastes like poo or eat poo that tastes like cake? Last money throw, ciao. Thank you. I don't know. Are either of them going to make me ill? If neither of them are going to physically damage me, well, okay. First of all, if one is going to make me ill and like really upset my stomach, then I'll take the other one. So that's one way of answering that question. The other way is, would I, if it physically tastes like poo, then how on earth am I gonna? I don't even think I could eat that. I don't think I could physically force myself. So if I ever had to eat poo that tastes like cake and there was no way of it making me ill in any way, and it would be indistinguishable from eating cake, then I guess I choose that one. I guess. But yeah, if one would make me ill, then I'll take the other one. Easy answer. Right, what are tonight's predictions? I think Bournemouth Brentford is like a 1-1, to be honest. Everton versus Burnley, I can see that with some goals in it, to be honest. I can see 2-2 there. Leeds versus Sunderland could be low scoring. Maybe 1-0 to Leeds. And Wolves Liverpool, I'm going to say 2-0 to Liverpool for that one. What football shirt is that, Dan? Stop waffling. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to. The only reason I entertained that weird ass question was because he paid me $7. So, what football shirt is this? Okay, well, let me tell you. This is a. Why is the phone ringing again? I don't want to. Show Team Gang again. Show Team Gang. I'm not answering. You're stupid. Press the button there. Phone calls. No, stop calling me. The football shirt. It's Venezia. It's very, very shiny and very silky and satiny. And it's nice. And we enjoy it. And it reminds me of the Arsenal shirt a little bit that I'm not allowed to wear because it's too valuable. Hey Dan, any tips for someone chasing 90 points in the mini league? Stay the course for now. There will be opportunities coming up. To gain some rank. 90 points is, in fairness, a lot, but give it 5 game weeks of staying the course, continuing to make sensible moves, and certainly that's something I've learned. And yeah, reassess. Who was calling? It was the Show Team Gang. Again. Sick of them. Sick of hearing from them. I guess it's because I took my team off the screen. If there's any other question, we can talk about anything for the next 10 minutes, by the way. So feel free to leave the most random questions you like. Matilda says, any movie recommendations? What have I watched recently that I've enjoyed? I've not really watched many movies recently, but I have watched some TV stuff. I don't know if anyone's seen the Pluribus on Apple TV. Is that how you say it? Pluribus? Thought that was pretty good. New season of the re-emergence of Scrubs is back. Scrubs was like my favorite sitcom for so long. So yeah, that for it to be rebooted is awesome. And it seems like they're open to like fully rebooting it, as in not just doing one reboot season. This is not a reunion. This is like they're doing one season and they might do a second season as well. It's crazy. It could be fully back, Scrubs, which is awesome. So yeah, a couple episodes are now out for that. I think they came out a couple of days ago. Who's your favorite historical dictator? I can't pretend to be super knowledgeable on historical dictators. What happened to the podcast? It was expensive and time consuming to produce, and I had to reprioritize things because of things going on in my personal life. Some people already know what's going on there. That's fine. Don't really feel like talking about it on a live stream right now, to be honest. Not that I'm a closed book or anything like that, but just I mean good vibes right now. I don't want to bring vibes down. Hijack and Paradise are great and have new seasons. I've not seen either of those. What is your favorite animal? When I was a kid, it was always a narwhal. Because I thought it was cool. I couldn't believe it existed as a thing. Right now, probably a cat. I think cats are awesome. I know it's a boring answer, and there's many, many cool animals that I also like, but cats are just awesome. I've never met a cat I dislike. They are all fantastic young men and young women. You must have been a kid when Scrubs was out the first time. Yeah, I was, but I think maybe it was kind of always on TV. Like repeats were always on TV when I was kind of maybe a teenager, and then yeah, I liked it when I was a teenager then, and I've watched it. I don't know how many times I've rewatched Scrubs at this point, 5, 6 times. You have a cat? I do have a cat, yes, and his name is Milton, and he is the best boy in the world. Narwhal, you were finding differentials since you were a kid, Dan? I guess so. I guess so. A cat or a cougar? Definitely a cat. I feel like I would not get on with a cougar very well. I hope you and Sim are still mates. Oh yeah, no, please. It's the podcast thing is nothing to do with Sim. I actually feel super bad for Sim that I had to. I was because it's my fault and stuff that's going on with my life that made me pull the podcast. So still mates with Sim, of course. So it seems like we've got a few other Scrubs fans in the chat, which is good. Show Cat Gang. Oh man, nah. If you are best friends with a cat, you know not to interrupt them when they're sleeping. And I know at this time, and I actually know at this time, he will be downstairs meowing at my wife to get fed, unless she's already fed him, which is possible. But usually from the hours of 4 p.m. to whenever he gets fed, he will just follow us around meowing. He likes to try and get his dinner a little bit early. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm afraid Show Cat Gang is gonna be disappointed. Scrubs is the best. Yeah, it is. It's my favorite sitcom. It's up there. My other favorite sitcoms, by the way, because I love sitcoms. I can't lie. Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Seinfeld. Does BoJack Horseman count as a sitcom? Probably not. Cartoon, isn't it? What else? And Scrubs. We mentioned Scrubs already. How I Met Your Mother. Oh, what a ride! I've watched that countless times as well. Jeremy says, need to introduce you to my grandma's cat, Bitsy. I swear that cat was rabid, but Gran loved her. I would still love that cat too. Maybe not if it was rabid. Big Bang Theory and Modern Family are classics for me. I've never been super into either of those, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I've watched both of them. And I'm happily watched both of them. But I just don't. They don't have the same rewatchability for me. Maybe they didn't resonate with me as much as some of the other shows I've watched. But good, not elite for me. Veep, I would put in a similar category. Shep or Putin? Putin. How I Met Your Mother is an all-time fave. How I Met Your Mother, what a show. On Rewatch 10. Rewatch 10 is insane. Prison Break, I've watched 5 times and still act like I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, a lot of people like Prison Break. Do you remember what you took for your GCSEs? Oh, man. Now you're asking the real questions. Okay, what did I take for my GCSEs? I could tell you A-levels. I could tell you at college. I could tell you university. But I don't... GCSEs? What did I take? I have no idea. I would have to dig out my GCSEs to find that out, to be honest. Yeah, I'll find. You know what? At some point, I will find my GCSEs and I'll find what I studied because I can't remember. To be totally honest with you. See you later, Louis. Shepsy is not happy. I Hate Rainbow says Friends. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. No, that's another great one. How I Met Your Mother. Everybody Hates Chris. I watched that a little bit when I was a kid. My wife and kids never watched that. Fresh Prince. Yeah, I watched that one as a kid as well, to be fair. What's your guilty pleasure? I guess my guilty pleasure was always anime, but I feel like anime is more mainstream now. So I don't really know if it counts as a guilty pleasure anymore. But anime or J-pop? I don't really listen to J-pop. What I'm talking about? I have done. I'm just gonna. You know what? My answer is anime. Anime is my guilty pleasure. Did you ever watch My Family, Dan? I feel like I must have, but yeah, it would have been on when I was a kid. Dan's guilty pleasure is a -4. No, I derive zero pleasure from taking -4s. Believe me, Ian. Zero pleasure. New Girl is my favorite sitcom. Yeah, New Girl's up there. It's up there. What did you study at uni? Media and journalism. which I didn't. Well, first of all, I dropped out, so I didn't even get my degree. And have I used those skills? Probably, but I don't know. I'm not a journalist, am I? So I can't really say I used any of my journalism knowledge. Maybe I didn't pick up enough. Media, though. Do I work in the media? Do I technically work in the media? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say I succeeded in that front. Honestly, I'm not just a guy sat in a small bedroom recording FPL videos for strangers on the internet. This is the media. This is the big time. This is the Erasmus House, the show. You got an A in jacuzzi and boils and a B in stunts. Yeah, facts. Then I have a master's in international business and I work on a boat. Well, a boat is an international form of travel. So, I mean, it works. And what's more businessy about boats? Nothing. Nothing's more businessy. Am I single? Wow. Now you're asking the real questions, unfortunately for you. But fortunately for me, I am married. A married man. Asian shows are the best. What's the last Asian show you watched? Not anime. Okay, so yeah, I watched some K stuff. What's the K thriller, Korean thriller where they're like in the first season they're in like a block of flats and people are turning into monsters. That was good. I can't remember what it's called though. And what else have I watched? Whilst I get the team news up as well because it will be coming out. And I love the Devil's Plan. That's like it's like a game show, a Korean game show. Awesome, like actually awesome. If even if you're not typically into foreign stuff, watch it in with English dubbing or whatever language you speak primarily. The Devil's Plan is unreal. Hard recommend. If you like things like The Traitors. If you like things like The Traitors, like those kind of psychological game shows, Devil's Plan, unreal. Sharp Dat in the chat says Devil's Plan is my fave show of all time. Yeah, it's really good. Really good. And I cannot wait for whenever they make a new season, if they are. I'm assuming they are because it was good. And then you've got like your obvious ones, like I don't know, what's it called? Squid Game. It's the obvious answer. I think everyone's watched Squid Game, haven't they? Right, we need some team news, and we need it now. Show me Brentford. Let's see here. Collins is back. Well, look, we got Atara, we got Sharda. We got no. Okay, I need to make a transfer. I need to make a transfer in my not my FPL team. Don't worry, in my draft league team, because I have. Oh no, I don't even have him starting. It's fine. Okay, Christopher Archer is on my bench anyway, so that's fine. Cool. Right, so Christopher Archer, who has him? There's someone who has him. It's FPL Nightmare, isn't it? It could only be FPL Nightmare. Who has Christopher Archer? Anyone else out there with Christopher Archer in their team? Hopefully not too many of you. He is on the bench. It's not an injury. Who do we have in my draft team? I have Christopher Archer. He's on my bench though in my draft team. Right. If FPL is not going to retweet everything, we'll go manually team by team. We'll have a look at Bournemouth. Is there a Tavernier benching? No, there is not. There is we've got Hill, we've got Senesi. Oh wait, Evan Nilsson's playing. Groupie's on the bench. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, they've retweeted them now. Good. I'll have a look. Cast will have a look. So we've got Tavernier, we've got Evan Nilsson, we've got no Groupie. But looks like all of the other big names are playing for Bournemouth. Everything else looks good. Tavernier starting, Evan Nilsson starting, Ryan starting, Hill, Senesi. So Scott as well, if you have him. Traffair. So I guess positive news. Okay, let's go through some of these other teams. So we've got Leeds United, we've got Darlow. I'll just read them out, I think. So for Leeds United, we've got Darlow, Bogle, Goodmanson, Rodon, Strike, Justin, Ampadu, Gruev, Stack, Aronson, and Calvert-Lewin. That is so defensive, man. That is terrorism football. Awful. But there we go. If you count Ampadu as a defender, which I don't know if you do, that's 1, 2, 3. That's 6 defenders. And then look, Stack is not exactly attacking, is he? Jeez. Right, for Everton, looks like no Keane. Keane on the bench. And we've got Pickford, O'Brien, Tarkovsky, Branthwaite, Mikolenko, Garner, McNeil, Dewsbury Hall, and Jai and Beto starting. So it's going to be Keane on the bench, Barry on the bench. There you go. As for Burnley, we've got Dubravka, Walker, Worrell, Esteve, Ugachukwu, Foster, Anthony, Humphreys, Florentino, Perez, and Hannibal. Anything interesting on the bench, really? No. Brentford we did speak about, but just to go through their starting 11, it's Kelleher, Henry Collins, Vandenberg, Coyote, Jensen, Henderson, Damsgaard, Sharda, Thiago Ouattara, Dango Ouattara, with Aja and Lewis Potter on the bench. And we've got Sunderland. We've got no Ruffs. Apparently the info was correct on Ruffs being out. So we're going to have Elborg. I've never even heard of Elborg. I don't know about you guys. But we've got Elborg, 09, Ballard, Alderete, Hume, Gertruda, Siddiqui, Diarra, Angulo, Lefay, and Mayenda. So Xhaka on the bench, which is interesting. Xhaka on the bench, no Ruffs. I wonder if Leeds might get some joy from this game. I wonder if they might get some joy from this game. Anyone go for Calvert-Lewin in the end? Could be onto something, man. And Bournemouth, which is going to be Petrovic, Traffair, Senesi, Scott, Evan-Nilsson, Christie, Adams, Tavernier, Jimenez, Hill, and Ryan, with Adley, Krupi Jr. on the bench. And that's your lot. That's your lot, guys. I think we are going to wrap up what has become a beautiful 3-hour stream. Wowzers. That is a lot of hours to be streaming FPL. But we managed. Transferred Raya out for Elborg this week. What a 200 IQ play. Pixel didn't happen. Rohit says, I just removed Collins as he starts. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think there's a good chance Bournemouth score. So there we go. Right. In the end, I think we can be reasonably happy, unless you're a Krupi Jr. owner, with those team newses. I'm happy with my team. I'll be happier if Haaland and Rice actually play tomorrow, but we'll have to wait and see for that one. Really appreciate you guys joining me for this one, particularly those who have been here for, several hours or over an hour during today. Big up yourself. Thank you so much. We will be having a couple of days off now. I think I will come back on Thursday or Friday, and we'll do a early transfer thoughts video for my team. And then what we'll do after that is we'll do a buy, sell, keep, avoid video. And after that, we'll do a chip strategy and doubles and blanks updates after the FA Cup games. And then it will be usual stuff in the build up to Game Week 30. But before that, let's enjoy some bloody FPL. Come on. Enjoy the football, guys. The midweek football. Have fun. Good luck with all of your teams, particularly Bruno captainers. Come on, let's go get it. And yeah, take care. I'll see you on the next one in a couple of days. And see you on social media for some live reaction stuff as well. If you're on Twitter, I'll be all over Twitter over the next couple of days. So catch you then. Thank you. And I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.